Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by Demico, Chrysler, Dodge Jeep, and Ram, serving the Finger Lakes since 1963. And DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, episode 109 on deck of the 31st Lap, powered by Demico, Chrysler, Dodge Jeep. Thanks for joining us. We've got Adam Buchanan, Mike Mallet, John Baumus all joining us here in the studio. Brett Deyo and Jeremy Elliott from the Patriot News also scheduled to appear. There's a good look at everybody. Adam, of course, joined us for the first time last week. The lead announcer at Fulton and Brewerton Speedways, and now the Go Nuclear Late Model Tour. Busy week this week, Mike. You got a little racing in. A little bit.
Wait, where did I go? No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you went.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Everything rained out.
Everything rained out. I had a lot. Anywhere. I didn't. Yeah, I went to my couch.
Yeah, how'd that go?
He was crying from home all weekend on Facebook.
Oh, I was pissed.
He was super scheduling.
You know what's funny? You know it was a bad weekend when I changed my Facebook profile photo.
That's bad.
Because I haven't changed it in probably 2 years, and I changed it. I was that annoyed.
I've never changed mine.
I was that upset.
Sending some special thoughts out to Dave Roberts as he continues to recover, trying to keep up on that situation. News broke that he had some health issues here earlier this week, and wishing him a speedy recovery.
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so. Also, thoughts are, while we're doing that, out to Steve Holsizer. I've been seeing some get well wishes. We know Steve is sick with cancer, so we send our thoughts to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Tough way when we always end up, we catch these periodically here. We had a couple of them last year, too, where we ended up having to start the show on a little bit of a somber note. Tough to get the momentum going. Interesting news after we talked all about Dan Harpel last week at Black Rock Speedway. Turns out Black Rock Speedway's got a new name. It's going to be called the Yates County Oval.
Yates County Speedway.
It's actually started an interesting discussion on the DTD forum of people. What do you call places? And like, what do you call? But what do you call racetracks? Like, how do you remember? I think I always remember tracks.
It's what you
by the
grew up
name
with.
of what I went to. What it was it the first time I went.
Whether
to.
it's a track or an event.
I've
said this a million times. Whether it's on here on Dirt Track Digest or just in talking in general with people. Like for me, and this was used as an example in this topic on Dirt Track Digest. For me,
I have no comment.
The Victoria 200 at Fulton will always be the Victoria 200 at Fulton. Yeah, always. That's what it will always be.
Okay.
You know,
that's
just an example.
I tend to agree with that because everyone, I call it Outlaw 200 Weekend only because I have to call it that. But in all honesty, it is still the Vic to me.
Yeah, but that's what it will always be to me too.
It's people's personal
Some people
preference.
call Syracuse, they still call it the Schaefer 200 or whatever it may be. Whatever
or
sticks in their mind.
The phase.
So somebody brought up that they still call it the Miller American 200. So it depends on what sticks in your head.
Super Dirt Series. I remember those stickers when I was a kid.
It took me a long time to stop calling it the Skull Series.
And then for a while,
I still catch myself dropping Advanced Auto Parts over now and again.
I've been typing before and writing the Advanced Auto Parts Super Dirt.
That's changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just finally started getting in the habit of just calling it the Super Dirt Series. So whenever it changes its name, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, so many of the tracks when they started out were referred to by the hometown city to begin with. So everybody just kind of gravitated to that. Weedsport, Canandaigua, Fulton, Brewerton, Dundee.
Yeah,
a lot of people still call Dundee Raceway Park.
I do sometimes.
DRP.
Because that's what I knew it as. I still call Weedsport. I don't ever call it Cayuga County. It's always
I've always called it Weedsport.
Yeah, Weedsport.
I've never called it Cayuga County.
Well, now it's Weedsport Speedway again, technically. Yeah. So we're good.
Yeah. It's come back around for you.
Yeah, all
full
the way
circle.
Back around. Yeah. Well, what is it? Albany, Saratoga? I call it Malta. Yeah,
it'll always be Malta.
Yeah. Right. How long was it? When did it change? When did that change?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you. It's been a long time now.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go home and dig through some stone tablets and see what date was etched on the...
It'll always be Malta.
I wonder how many speedways have changed back.
Well, even I-88 is Afton. I always say Afton. I'm going to Afton. I don't ever say I-88.
Do you feel like you're old when you're the one that's calling it by the wrong name?
No, I know I'm old. I don't feel like it. I just know I'm getting older. But, I mean, I'm not as old as other people.
When seasoned, I don't like the word old.
Utica Rome.
When Utica Rome was New Venture in the 80s, people still called it Utica Rome.
Because that's what it started as, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We all We're fortunate. Fonda's pretty much been Fonda.
Yeah, Fonda's always. Whether it's the new Fonda Speedway
The
or
Track of Champions,
Fonda Speedway, it's still
yeah.
Fonda Speedway.
Yeah, and Canandaigua's always been Canandaigua. It doesn't really...
In some
Well,
iteration,
now it's
yeah.
Canandaigua Motorsports Park.
Right, but it's still... It's got Canandaigua
It used to
in
be
it.
Canandaigua, and then it's Canandaigua.
Right.
That was one of the other examples.
I always get a kick out of people telling me, well, you know, Fulton used to be asphalt track. Yeah, I know. I announced here. I know the history of the racetrack, but
And if you dig up the clay, it's underneath.
once a year, someone always has to tell me, you know, when this place started out, it was a pavement track. Yeah, I know. And Richie Evans used to race here. Yeah, I know that
yeah,
too.
we've all seen the
You know,
photos and the videos.
I've actually
Thanks,
seen.
Zoopy.
I've actually, yeah, exactly. I wasn't gonna throw him under the bus, but you did it for me. I actually seen a piece of the pavement before they put new clay on there. It was a sprint car race.
Did it
and
change? Did it change your life?
It didn't, no. But I think the winner ended up flipping on the front stretch to win the race, and his car had to be towed to victory lane, and a piece of the pavement actually came up and out.
Is that Dan Kazabinski?
Yeah, the Kazbinski flip.
That was a Patriot show.
Yeah, I know.
I know. It's fine. You can mention it. It's okay.
I wasn't gonna.
You're
I
allowed
don't
to
care.
mention. You're allowed to mention that. I mean, this isn't the
It's
same.
fine.
This isn't the ESS.
I'm not sitting in the
31st
ESS
lap.
van right now, and you got to have certain rules.
If you
Yeah.
said that the ESS
Listen,
van,
to every ESS show I go to, I wear a CRSA shirt.
Deacon Reynolds has one.
Hey, did you
Start.
know that the Empire Super Sprints has a Facebook page? Because I didn't.
I did. Yeah.
I still haven't liked it.
Jesus.
Better get on that.
Nah, it's more fun not to.
Oh boy.
Hey, Bombers fans here. We're good. We can start.
Hey, we got Brett coming up in about 9 minutes. Brett Deyo from
Yeah, that's the theory.
announcing.
He said
getting,
okay,
getting
so
ready
he said-
for.
He said okay 12 hours ago, so hopefully.
He's getting ready to kick off the short track Super Series season with the Hard Clay Open Saturday,
Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday.
Sunday. Come on, man. You got a new minivan and you're all out of sorts.
I'm out of sorts. I'm a mess.
Fish.
Now, how long
It's the
before this
same
new
color.
minivan's all stickered up?
He's already working on a decals. He's got the machine warming up. So when he
Give it
gets
a
home-
week.
Next week.
The wife gonna allow that?
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Oh, brother. Wow.
What'd you have to give up for that?
You don't want to know. You can't say it on air.
My Avenger.
It's a sad day. Where'd you buy that nice new vehicle you got?
D'Amico Chrysler Dodge Jeep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
buddy.
Nice. You get a good deal?
Swinging deal.
Did you get us a new sponsorship? Considering you bought 2 cars, there, you made them enough money.
That was, I think, I can't remember.
Yeah, was that worked into the deal?
We were talking. We actually, it's funny you should say that. We were talking about how many cars we've got there, and I can't remember if this is number 5 or number 6 that we've got from D'Amico. But it's always an awesome experience, the whole thing. Steve Riffle helped us out this time around, and we started out with Mike Godkin, and it was a little tough.
You like
It was
the
a little
dealership?
tough. It was a little tough to take all those decals off today, though, because those were really stuck on. And I didn't want to get rid of the Avenger, but I outgrew it. I can't carry my stuff around.
You didn't
Everything
outgrow
that we've
it.
got
Your
now.
stuff or your kids?
Well, both. I mean, we've got all the podcast equipment, we've got all the video equipment, everything that's got to go to these places, and it didn't all fit in the Avenger. If I wanted to bring help,
You didn't need a new car. Just let UPS send it.
no, we went down that road. That doesn't work out well.
Why?
No,
What happened?
because they drop your boxes from 37,000 feet. And
It
then
happens.
they tell you, well, it wasn't properly packed, so we're not going to honor your insurance
Yeah,
claim.
it was all your fault.
Yeah, it's my fault.
It was all my fault.
My
Because
fault
I-
that I taped the
'cause I
box with
packed it.
12 rolls of tape.
Actually, they indicated that it was my fault because I packed it, and I said my box was open, and your
Employees.
your employee told me that it was okay, and I at that point, if you told me that it was okay, I kind of think a little bit that
Of
falls
what you're
on
talking
you.
about.
He does work for UPS. I saw the little shield thing.
You saw Brown?
Oh, I saw Brown. Yep. I was not happy when he told me that. I was like, this might not end well. Because I had to call. That was the other thing that really irritated me was I had to call to get the definitive answer on whether they were or weren't going to honor the insurance claim. And when I did that, she talked to me like I was an imbecile. Like this had been.
Well, that's why you go
How
FedEx from
how
now on.
did she know you already?
Because you're supposed to support those who support racing, and FedEx, they're still in the sport, and UPS dropped out. So there you go. Go FedEx. You won't have that problem anymore.
I find that hard to believe. I think they got the same mirror foggers working for them on the conveyors that are going to punt this stuff no matter what. The lid was ripped off the top of the box. I mean, like, I understand that, okay, so contents may shift while in transit, but holy crap, you destroyed the box. And you know what? I took part of the ownership of it and said, okay, so maybe I got the wrong boxes. Maybe I got the wrong kind of containers. I understand that, but the stuff was supposed to go UPS ground. It wasn't supposed to be on conveyors. Someone was supposed to lift it up, put it on the truck, take it off the truck,
in
put it on
theory.
the truck. And apparently they used, I can only assume zombie giants to handle these things because they were destroyed.
Hey, at least you didn't get a drone delivered to your doorstep.
No, that'll
never happen.
Okay.
Anyway,
So, enough about UPS.
Yeah.
What next? What were we talking about?
We started talking about
changing names of speedways.
He's not even listening. He's
How many-
playing with his computer.
Once you guys started with that, I'm just looking at the chat room.
How many-
I could care less
What's
what you're
going on in the
talking
chat room?
about. Nothing.
How many-
Okay, what
UPS
do you got for
stores are
listeners?
independent contractors. That's
I
this.
understand. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got for listeners?
I was told that too.
A whopping 7.
Ooh.
Not 6,
Stellar.
7. I'm trying to think of the movie that you
only go
watch
up.
where the guy's a delivery guy and he's kicking the boxes up to the door.
That was Ace Ventura.
Was it? Oh yeah.
The opening sequence of Ace Ventura.
Yeah, okay.
But he
All
wasn't actually. He wasn't actually
Right, he wasn't the UPS
Yeah,
guy,
he
but he
was
was. Yeah.
incognito.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
I was entertained by that movie.
Sounds wonderful.
It's funny.
How many speedways have actually
Wait,
changed
you've
their
never
name?
All of them. You've never seen
All of them.
Ace Ventura?
Oh,
Who said that they've never seen it?
years ago, somebody rented it and brought it to my house, and I tried watching it. I couldn't get through the first 5 minutes. It was
It's
so
like him
goddamn
wa-
stupid.
All right, so you at least saw the part we were talking about. Now, how many tracks have changed their name?
All of them?
All
No,
of
not
them.
all of them. Well, here's the thing. Every time a new
A
ownership,
lot of them.
every time a new ownership group takes over, they have to. Like, I know Afton
That's
was
not
Afton.
true.
Well, it was Afton
Yeah, that's
Speedway.
not
But
necessarily
if you're doing a corporation or whatever, that's why like Afton
A lot
was
of them do
Afton
it just
Speedway.
so
Then it
you
was
know
the
there's a
new
change.
Afton Speedway. Then now it's ID8 Speedway. Like it's
Brewerton and Fulton
when-
never changed.
Yeah,
And they
Well,
changed.
Cuba
ownership.
County never
I-
changed.
but
Not
I-
all of them do, but a
well,
lot
some
of them do
them.
just to
I
so
guarantee
there's
the name of the
something different.
corporation running them change names. But usually, if you want to know, you want to know it's new or different.
Yeah,
or
a lot of
somebody
them
else.
do it so you know there's been a change.
Right, like the new Fonda Speedway is
you're-
now just
Because
Fonda
if you're
Speedway
out of
again.
the loop,
What
that
was
way
the-
you know.
There's an asphalt track that changed its name, and it's got a corporate. It's got a corporate name on
Oh,
it. now.
Lancaster's Elegant Builders Raceway Park or whatever it is.
A lot of
right?
tracks do that now with
Wasn't it Dunn
sponsorship.
Tire Raceway?
It was
That's
Dunn
the
Tire
one. Yeah,
Raceway,
that's-
Elegant Builders
yeah.
Raceway Park. It's been a little bit of
Well,
bit of
there,
everything.
Charlotte was Lowe's Motor Speedway.
I know everybody. When it was Lowe's was getting mad because everybody called it Charlotte. Now that it's back to Charlotte again,
No, they
everybody
all
calls it
call it
Lowe's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Way to go!
I always called it Charlotte, though, because
You always called it shit.
yeah.
You always called it that because it never ran wingless cars there.
Oh man.
I've
they
seen
haven't.
a World of Outlaw race at the dirt track at Charlotte once. It
Ooh.
was great.
Got to tell you, looking at a picture here on Facebook of Dwayne Howard's car from.
The accident?
Yeah.
Let's
Wow,
see.
that was
You want to
quick.
see that?
I do want to see it.
Oh,
Turn that right around.
can you
here.
see that, Bomus?
Hold it up
Take
to
a
the,
here,
hold it up to the
look,
screen.
look at the monitor. You see it?
Wow.
That is a bad day.
I got tore up.
That's
Man,
practice. Oh,
Yeah. Wonder how many laps that car had
wow.
before that happened.
I guarantee you not enough to look like that. Ooh, that is bad. That's by the way, that's on Travis Schwenk's
Another
Facebook.
question-
Well, I got some work to
question
do
is-
for Saturday.
Would be, is that a brand new car or is that one of Danny's cars from last year?
Well, it could be. Let's see.
Who
Who
knows?
else drove it? Bobby drove it. Who else drove it last year?
ultimately, it's junk now. Either way.
Ultimately, it is in pieces, and I think it's going to need more than a clip. Going out on a limb on that one.
Just throwing it out there.
Taking a look at it.
True.
Oh, while you're waiting for Brett, you could talk about the changes to Fonda Speedway. Well, we could.
They got a fresh coat of paint.
Oh no! If you read the interview on the front page of DirtTrackDigest.com,
Plug.
no, not really. It's in my hat. There's a story that Ron Zerber wrote, the PR guy for Fonda Speedway,
Yeah.
and he asked him some questions. And I mean, he literally went through everything that he changed, and it's like 30 things. Or hold on, let me look. 29 things. I'm sorry, 29 things. Pretty good. I like a lot of what he's doing. You know, they took the Jersey Barrier out of the first front stretch, which was everybody hated that one going into turn 1.
Yeah.
Fixed the drainage, so now there won't be a rut going into turn 1. Rebuilt all the buildings, tore some down, fixed the bathroom, new catch fence added, moved the pit shack.
So what you're telling me is Jessica Zemkin's tail tank is not going to end up
that
in the
could still
parking
happen
lot.
because that went way higher than an extra 6 feet over the catch fence. That was an impressive display of flipping.
I think that's the fastest I've ever seen a car go in person.
It was just, whew, and that was gone.
Stupid.
There goes the
fast
tail
that
tank.
night.
Yeah,
it
that was
stupid.
Was that the night that it rained and we didn't get home till like 3 in the morning?
Yep, that was the night where I was sitting in the pits with John Tiff and we saw the slipstream coming off the rear and on the back stretch of Fonda. Yeah.
All the vapor trails off the wings.
Oh yeah.
And that was I remember that night. I remember how pissed off the mod guys were because they ran it all in.
They packed the track and then they said, "See you later."
Thanks, guys. We'll make it up at a later date. That was a big.
And they
debate.
ended up doing a double feature at the end of the year.
They did
Not
another-
everybody came because there was other races running against
Yeah,
it.
there was a lot of stuff that night.
was a mess.
Yep. Well, since we're here, we're there. He's locked in. Joining us on the D'Amico hotline right now is NDRL Super Series promoter Brett Deyo. Brett, how you doing this evening?
Pretty good. Just getting ready for our opening weekend here, and just a lot of craziness that goes on the days before the race, but we're getting there.
So, how are the nerves right now? Considering this race, based on all the other ones that you've done, I know they're special and every race is important to you, but I know this one has a little different meaning. We've talked in the past. This is at Middletown, your home track, where you grew up. Family, friends, all eyes are on you for this race.
Yeah, I'm definitely the most nervous I've ever been. It's good for me because I'm fat, so it's keeping me from eating this week. No, it's definitely nerve-wracking. I mean, it's a situation, when we started doing this promoting stuff, we were kind of the little guy and nobody really expected much, but now we got so many people behind us and around us that we're expected to do really well, and that brings with it a whole lot of pressure for this race especially.
What do you, on Sunday, first time using passing points, and Obamas is excited about that. He's a passing points guy. How difficult of a transition do you think that's going to be for you, or is it going to be easy for you to figure out, considering you guys kind of have a handle? I know you got some programs and things like that to help you along with it.
Yeah, I got the computer set up, and I did a simulation race actually a couple of nights ago and printed out lineups and did everything. So I think we're going to be okay as far as handling it. We actually have quite a bit of help coming with us to this race, more than we've ever had at any of our races. And, I think the biggest transition is getting the people in the grandstand and the people in the pits to understand it. And when I do explain it to them, I've had people call this week, I went through it on the phone, drivers, and once I explained it, they're like, oh, that's really cool. But it's just a matter of getting that through their heads. But what we've done is we actually have a bag that every car is going to get when they register, and included in the bag is the passing points calculator. So that should help with the people in the pits following the chart and kind of paying attention to what's going on.
A question coming in here in our chat room. Someone wants to know, how are the raffle ticket sales going? I know you are doing a special raffle to help boost the point fund.
Actually, we're doing really well. More than half of them are already sold, which is great, and we'll have them at Orange County both days this weekend for practice and race day. So I'm hoping that we'll have the drawing either at the Thunder Mountain race on May the 20th or when we go to I-88 in July. So they're coming along great, and that'll be another boost to our point fund. And with the raffle tickets and the perfect attendance money, right now we're looking at almost $1,700 for 10th and points. So for 6 races, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, not bad at all. Some questions coming in. I know you've posted it on Dirt Track Digest and in some various places. How much is it to get in this weekend in terms of, if you want to be a fan, sit in the stands, the drive-in section, pits, whatever?
The drive-in section and the grandstand are both the same price, and that's $20 for adults, $18 for seniors, and it's $2 for kids 12 and under. The grandstand or the pit area is $35, and that's no license required.
Okay, so that answers that for those folks. I know another big announcement you came out with, $10,014 to your champion here in the first year. I know there's a couple of stipulations that go with that, but a pretty hefty payday again for a 6 or 7 race deal.
Yeah, if you really sit down and look at it, you basically have to run the six events are six scheduled series events with perfect attendance, and you have to come back and attempt to qualify for the King of the Can race at Penn Can, October the 17th. So basically, you have to be at 7 events for $10,014. And that's pretty amazing. You look at a lot of different tracks. I mean, I know there's some guys that have run 22 races at a weekly track and won the championship and got $2,000 or $3,000. So for 7 events, that's a pretty good payday, and it's pretty exciting that all the people have gotten behind us. I talked to actually John Kennedy today at the National Dirt Racing League, and he's pretty pumped up for the opener on Sunday. And VP Fuels is unbelievable to me. They have been for a lot of years now, and they're all excited about the series. And we're trying really hard to make it special, a little bit different than everybody else. And Passing Points has its own unique character, and of course Sale Panels at Orange County, and a lot of the things we're doing make us different than the other series.
Now, you touched on Thunder Mountain, your race there on May the 20th. Talk a little bit about your new job there. Kind of working Saturday nights again, going back to the routine.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done anything weekly. This is something that's kind of been brewing all winter. Carl Spoonhauer took the track back over, and he's just a workaholic. He has the racetrack. He has involvement in a logging business, construction business, a modular home business, and they have a hair salon. So they're pretty busy away from the racetrack. And Carl loves the equipment. He loves working on the track. He loves keeping the facility nice. He's not a big paperwork guy. Doesn't like to be on the computer. So he kind of came to me and said, well, how about you come on and be a partner with me and do the advertising, the promoting, that side of the track, and I'll continue to do my track work. And it worked out pretty well. I mean, he's a good guy. He's old school, which I like, and he's not afraid to tell me if I do something stupid, and I like that. I'd rather have him be up front, and it's a pretty interesting deal to be up there on Saturday nights, but I think it's going to be great. I mean, the track itself is coming along really well. There's a lot of work going on there, and the car count sounds like it's going to be really good, so it'll be interesting. I told him I'd probably break at least one door and one radio when I get angry, and he's okay with that, so I guess we'll get along just fine.
How does that affect all the other stuff you do, or will it have an effect?
I don't really think so. I mean, honestly, it's probably going to let us spend a little more money on our special events. When you have guaranteed money coming in every Saturday for 20-some weeks into the business checking account, you can spend a little bit more on advertising and other things for our week events. And it actually may help a little bit with us on Fridays and Sundays, because we'll probably leave our motorhome at Thunder Mountain at the beginning of the year at least, and we'll be able to do a little more traveling on Friday and Sunday nights to promote our midweek shows. So it's a nice location for that, being in Binghamton, because we can go to Albany, Saratoga, or an Accord, or a Friday night track, and then be able to go to Utica, Rome, or Glen Ridge, or somewhere else on Sunday for a special. So it's going to keep me a little bit more busy, but on the other hand, if you're a full-time race car driver, you can't pick 9 races a year and just run them and expect to make a living. And as a promoter, you can't do it either. I mean, I need to have more opportunities to generate money for the business, and this kind of worked out really well for it.
So another question coming in here in the chat room, coming back to Middletown this weekend. I know you and I have talked, and you've put out some impressive list of names, but how many cars are you expecting in the modified division?
Right now, we've got right around 40 pre-entered, and that's really good for us, because we only we charge $5 more to enter on the day of the race versus early. So we typically don't have a long list of pre-entries. For example, last year at the Short Track Super Nationals, we had 79 cars, but only 28 were entered the day before the race. So looking at 40 pre-entered, I would say we'll definitely be over 50. Maybe mid to high 50s would be a good guess, but you never really know. There always could be surprises.
And throw out there some of the names that we can expect, and especially some of the different traveling guys' names that we probably haven't seen at Middletown in a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's some definitely different cars, like Ryan Watt, the Bridgeport champion. He's coming up first time in 10 years. David Van Horn, who won a couple track championships there, he's coming back. Rich Rickey, a guy who had a lot of success at Orange County back in the day, he's coming back. You'll see, some of the regular guys. You'll also see Mike Mahaney, who's never raced there competitively with his own car. Stuart Friesen, the Eastern States Small Block winner, will be there. Brett Hearn will be there. One of the ones that I think is really cool is Matt Jester, the Delaware champion. He's never seen the place before, and he got his engine in today, and he'll be coming up for practice. on Saturday and then racing on Sunday. Dwayne Howard will be there. He hasn't been there in quite some time. It's really a nice list. Donnie Corellis is called. He's coming. J.R. Hefner will be there. Jimmy Davis. It's shaping up to be pretty interesting group of cars, and I know I'm looking forward to it because it's a good mix of the short trackers, guys like Justin Holland, Nick Roshinsky, Elmo Reckner, those type of guys, and your track regulars and some of the bigger names.
What's the feedback been on the sale panels? I know how whenever I talk to guys, they either love them or they hate them.
It's been kind of interesting because people don't know what to expect. Saturday's practice session will be very interesting, I think, to watch and see how people adjust. And, there's almost two complete unknowns there because we're bringing in American Racer tires, and different American Racers than they actually ran there a few years ago when they were a mandated tire. And then we have the different body styles, plus the engine rules are a little bit different. So finding the right combination is going to be interesting. I know Tommy Meyer, for example, track regular, is going to bring 3 cars there on Saturday for practice to see which one he thinks will be best. He's got a dirt legal small block, an open small block, and a big block, and he's going to time them all and see where they fall before he decides actually what he's going to race.
Yeah, Tommy Meyer, he's not messing around. And I will say this, the night we had him on the show, I talked to him about it, they have the best food in the pits in that trailer.
He's actually one of the guys that's going to race with us all year this year.
That's one of the incentives.
Full season, and he came out on the road with us a little bit last year, went to 5 Mile, went to 10 Can. Obviously, Accord, he ran well in our races there, and they had so much fun and enjoyed going to the different tracks that they're committed to run the whole series for points this year. And I'm pretty excited about that because being a Middletown guy, I grew up watching Tommy move from street stock to sportsman to small block and modified and win a championship in all the divisions. So that'll be neat to have him out on the road with us.
So a couple more questions coming in. I know a few weeks ago you sent a photo when you had to postpone the event. How are things looking now at the facility, with the grounds and so on and so forth, with the way the winter's been? I know it's been a little bit better down there than it has been up here in Central New York.
Yeah, they actually they had 2 events last weekend. They had 2 motocross events on Saturday and Sunday, so the facility is all de-winterized. I know they've graded the track and they have it ready. They had it sealed up for the rain that's going to come tonight and tomorrow, so they're ready for practice. I actually been talking to Mike Gerda and Kenny Stans pretty much every day, and they're geared up, ready to go. It might be a little bit wet in the pits still, but that's all part of the Orange County experience. Anybody that's been in the Eastern States knows that.
Yeah, you got to bring your hip boots if you're going to park in the back on the back stretch.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit wet, but hopefully with the nice day, once the rain clears out Saturday morning, hopefully it's gonna be a nice day Saturday. I'll help dry it out for Sunday, and it's those guys have worked hard at Orange County because not too long ago when we were there for the car show, they had a lot of snow yet, and they went out, cleared the remaining snow off the track, and then started working it, and they've got it in pretty good shape now.
I know you've talked about people. One of the complaints they have in Middletown is you can't see the whole track. I know you got some plans to make sure people are going to have better visibility on Sunday.
Yeah, I was able to spend quite a bit of time with Jay Castamore and talk to him about how they set up the pits when Brett Hearn had his shows there. And as far as I could tell, they were the best at it. And we're actually going to keep cars out of the turn 3 and 4 area altogether. We're going to move stacker trailers to the center and then put the smaller trailers down the front straightaway and inside of turns 1 and 2. So the way we have it in our mind is you should be able to see turns 3 and 4 a lot better than you could, say, at Eastern States or some of the other special races. So it's going to be a little bit of a project to get everybody to park where they're supposed to park. But Andy Brown, who's the race director there, is a really, really good guy, enthusiastic, and he's my parking man. He volunteered to do the dirty work. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting a little bit better experience for the fans.
What time the gates open, etc.?
Saturday practice is 12 to 5, and then on Sunday morning it's 8 o'clock in the morning. The pit gates open, the drive-in, and the grandstands are going to open at 10 o'clock. That'll get that going. Then 11:30 we will have an autograph session with Andy Bicchetti, Stuart Friesen, Brett Hearn, Danny Creedon, Mike Mahaney, Anthony Perego, and Tim Heinley. That'll be 11:30 behind the grandstands. Drivers meeting will be 12:45, warm-ups at 1, and opening ceremonies at 10 minutes of 2. We're looking forward to, we have singers for both the Canadian and the American national anthems. We got Miss Motorsports coming. We'll have an RC track set up behind the grandstands for people to, have a little bit of fun, and program books, apparel, stickers, we got it all. We're pretty geared up for this show.
Did you get Gary to bring the Billy Pouch sprint car simulator?
I actually was talking to him about that today. They were talking about digging it out because that's a pretty neat deal too, and we should have a lot going on. I'm looking forward to it. I know Brett Hearn actually called the other day and said he'll have his apparel trailer there, and Stuart Friesen's bringing some apparel. I know Tim Heinley. They're actually going to put their championship-winning big block behind the grandstands for people to check out on Sunday because he's actually bringing a small block. He decided that he's going to take the weight break and run a small block Sunday, so this big block will be on display for fans to check out.
Dino wants to know if you'll have T-shirts.
We will have plenty of T-shirts.
I don't know why he wanted me to ask that, but he said ask it, so I did.
We're geared up. We have Super Series shirts, we have Hard Clay Open shirts, and we'll have actually 3 T-shirt stands open. We'll have one in the grandstand, one in the pits, and one in the drive-in. So we actually worked on that today and got that all sorted out. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't think about, but for us, going to such a big place, there's just so much more preparation as far as if you have 3 T-shirt stands, you have to have change for 3 T-shirt stands, you have to have tables for 3 T-shirt stands. All that stuff is what I've been trying not to screw up all week and make sure we're prepared for a bigger venue.
Well, tell everybody where they can find information online, etc. And again, we don't want to take too much of your time because I'm sure you got a lot to do to get things ready to go for this weekend.
Everything is on www.bdmotorsportsmedia.com. We actually have a frequently asked questions section right on the top. You can click and find out probably most anything you want to ask. We're at BD Motorsports Media on Facebook, at Brett Deyo on Twitter, and we will be getting to the track either late tomorrow night or first thing Saturday morning, and I'll be posting updates from practice about who's there and taking some pictures and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just excited to get going. It's a lot of pressure this winter to get things rolling on the right foot, so I'll be glad once we get started and get our season underway.
Well, man, as always, thanks a lot for taking the time to join us here on the 31st lap, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
All right, see you Sunday.
Have a good one. And so, Short Track Super Series promoter and Hard Clay Open.
It's going to be a neat show because there's so many new things to look forward to.
I know you're excited just because of simply the passing points. All you had to say was passing points. You're like, yes, I'm going.
Yep.
It's different. It's definitely different, and fans like different, you know.
I don't
switch
mind.
Up the change of pace
My
a little bit.
only
So
issue with passing points, and this is me being selfish, is that I like to just sit.
No, really?
Yes, it is.
Go on.
What I'm doing.
That's never happened.
Yeah, I'm always selfish, but when
Ever.
I'm doing, I'm tweeting and all that, I like to be able to just pop the names into my lineup as we go, so I know who's starting where. Now I got to actually run around all night.
Now I got to work.
Yeah, it's a long walk.
now you
No,
gotta
here's the
find
thing.
out.
It's not difficult when you're at a track where the pits are outside the track. That's easy. Well, shut up, idiot. You know what? If you weren't going, I'm going to block you on Twitter so you can't follow me. That way you don't know what's happening.
Oh no!
Block me on Twitter.
I'll block you on Twitter. I will. I can block you on my Twitter.
Please.
I'll do it right now.
Dude,
Where is your name?
all I got to do is go to your account. I can look at it.
No, I can block you.
Yeah, because there's not a bajillion other people that
I
are
know,
going to retweet your
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, I know. Everybody retweets.
It'll show up
People
on
will retweet
Facebook
your
somehow.
retweet.
Yeah, I know.
Adam's going to retweet.
I'm going to personally
your stuff just so John can
retweet
see it.
your tweet so John can see it.
I'm going to block you too. Keep it up.
I'm going anyway.
Keep it up.
I'm going to be there.
You
so
know
it
what?
doesn't
I'm
matter.
honestly thinking about retweeting or tweeting the results to Burden and Fulton this year. Something
Yeah, we'll see if you actually do it. Heard that
I did
before.
in a limited capacity
I
last
heard
year about
that before.
It's
Adam,
tough.
I got to tell you.
Adam, you know that awesome and ever valuable coverage that the Go Nuclear Tour got last week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, here on the 31st lap.
absolutely.
It's all thanks to Mike Mallett. And if you keep it up, he won't talk about him ever again. Ever.
I just completely.
Andy might block me on Twitter.
I just totally just ignored you, Chris, because I didn't hear what you said, so I'm just ignoring
He's
you.
in a better mood today. Don't ruin it.
Shut up. Oh,
I said you were in a better mood today. Don't ruin it.
a little bit.
If you block me on Twitter, my phone will not mind. Trust me.
Yeah,
All right,
Mike,
that's fine. You know what? I'm on Twitter right now. Give me a minute.
Mike, if
His battery might not die in that case.
Yeah.
Mike, if you block him on Twitter, he's only going to have about 67,000 other options. In terms
yeah,
of
I
getting
know.
We're sitting in the
information.
parking lot about only 3 or 4 minutes waiting for Adam to get there where we all meet to come here. And my phone went off about 34 times in 3 minutes.
Well,
because
that's
because he was
that's
tweeting.
You know what? That's surprising because you have Sprint.
Well, you know,
You got service.
The one place
You
I
know,
have
kidding
service.
me? It's funny because like no tweets will come through be like maybe 2-3 hours, but then like 40 of them will come through in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they all come at once.
That's how it works.
Might be how that might be how your plan's set up. They're trying to limit your data use.
Oh, is that it?
Could be.
No,
they're
you're
trying to look
using
out
too
for
much.
you. Yeah. They're just trying to look out for you.
We have
Overage.
unlimited everything, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
They'll still scale the crap out of that.
Yep. That's the theory, right?
Yep.
So
Nice.
I'm pretty sure
I
that
like
happens.
how Brett, he does the working man's race, and that's how they promote 5 Mile at the end of the year. I like how he's doing that with the whole Super Series as a whole. The purses aren't top heavy; they're spread throughout. So someone who's normally really not good at a certain track can survive. Survive's probably a bad word to say, but has a better shot at going home with some money in their pocket and for expenses, because it's not all top heavy purses.
Before you dive into that, do you want me to get Jeremy on the line?
no, I told him. Oh, it is 7:50.
It is already. Right
When-
on
when'd
the
you
phone.
tell him?
But I mean, Adam's got a good point. It's probably worth talking a little bit about that. Do you want to table him, or you want me
No,
to just
I
get him
want.
on the
I
line?
want to. I don't want to.
Okay,
First
Push
time.
your
It's
it's a
first
good
time
point. I
guest.
mean, he's
Keep
got a
that
great
point. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we should definitely come back to that. I kind of like where you were going with that.
So write it down.
I don't need to write it down. It's right here. Steel trap.
Yeah, you'll forget it.
Apparently, you've never done.
I
the
know
show
you
before.
will. We don't write anything down.
At the rate
we
it's
used
going,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, we used
Yeah,
to have.
because I can't remember where I put my pen.
We used to have scripts.
We used to have a script. Chris got lazy.
Production value went way down.
Dino.
Listen, wait a minute. I would write up a script, okay?
Never
And we'd
follow
have
it.
everything mapped out. And I
Never
would hand
follow
it out to each one of them. Mike would
Never
basically wad it in ball, throw it over his shoulder, and be like, "I'm talking about this."
Next.
And that was so I quit. There's
The
no
only thing
point.
on there that was useful was the phone numbers for the guest.
and even those ended up sometimes being wrong.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll get Jeremy Elliott on the phone. Give you a little insight into Jeremy. He writes for the Patriot News, which is out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He is the Central Pennsylvania sprint car guy. So we've added him. We've actually been fortunate. He's been allowing us to post his stories on Dirt Track Digest. We post the intro to the story, and then you can click here to read the whole story on the
Phone's ringing.
Patriot News.
Oh, sorry.
So we appreciate that. It's nice to have that content from Central Pennsylvania. So
Absolutely.
and he's written some good stories this week, and we'll kind of touch base with the various things that he's talked about. And
I'm interested to see what his take on the Selinsgrove 360.
yeah, that's what he
swap
wrote
is.
about. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that'll be the first one we get into. And
I was going to bring that up.
I think
on the
we
show.
have him in
No,
now, and again, joining us here on the D'Amico Chrysler Dodge Jeep .com hotline, of course, is Jeremy Elliott, again, of the Patriot News. Jeremy, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
No complaints. No complaints here in the studio. First off, we got to ask you, how's the weather down there? Because I need to see some racing this weekend.
You're probably not going to see any on tomorrow night at Williams Grove. I expect them to call that one. It's a 70% chance of rain. It's raining here now. They say it's going to rain heavy overnight. And then also it's going to be in the 40s, so I think they'll pull the plug quick on it.
Well, I think it's required, though, because there's late models there, right? I think that's the yearly tradition. Whenever Williams Grove has late models, every year, that race, it rains.
We
It's
got
almost-
lucky with it last year.
Yeah, I think it might have been
actually
last year, but yeah. Well, Jeremy, the reason we wanted to talk to you this week, obviously you're doing a heck of a job there at the Patriot News. A lot of interesting topics coming out this week, and the one that we've been talking a lot about here, and Adam kind of brought it up, is what's your take? Selinsgrove kind of stepping out of the box, doing something a little different this year, going with the 368 sprint car division as compared to the 358s, which we know are the prevalent division. Were the prevalent division in Central PA.
Well, I mean, I actually wrote about that. It's funny you bring that up. I wrote about it today on Penn Live, and the potential's there, I think, for this to be really good. I like the move, but we all know, and you and I have talked about this, I think 358 sprints look like spaceships. Their wings are stupid.
I agree with that.
I don't, now you talk to the guys who do like it, they're like, well, the cars are unhooked and you actually have to be drivers and blah, blah, blah. You know what? They're not better than Steve Kinzer. They're not better than Fred Raymer. They're not better than any of those guys. So, I'm not buying that theory, but I like the move. Now, there are some concerns. And as I wrote today, I hear only one guy's going to leave, to go someplace else, to go to Lincoln. But you never believe that until you actually see the opener, which is Saturday night, which I think will get in. And the other thing is, I like that they booked URC, ESS, and the Patriot, class, but again, you're always fearful of, are these guys going to make that transition to 360s? Are they going to embrace it? What happens, because you're allowed to use your 358 stuff this year. What happens when they're not competitive? Do they leave? And here's the other thing, and nobody's talked about this. Charlie Page's lease is up, in a year and a half, whatever it is. What happens if the new guy doesn't want to do 360s?
Yeah.
So and I stuck that in there today because nobody's talking about that. We had that issue at the end of last year where there were rumors around, that he was giving up the Speedway. Obviously, that didn't happen. Didn't think it was going to happen, but I've also been told that he is not going to renew the lease once it runs out. So, maybe this is a last-ditch effort, and if it works, that's great, and he'll stay. But if it's a kind of a lukewarm season or whatever, what happens when the next guy comes in and says, you know what, I don't want to run 360s, and then then what?
Mm-hmm.
So, I like I said, I love the move because I like 360s. I've seen them at Eldora. I've seen them other places, and they look like sprint cars. If you're standing next to one, it just feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in favor of it, but I'm also very cautiously optimistic.
What do you think about the 358 car counts as a whole? I know Williams Grove only had 14, and then Lincoln had 18 last week. Where are these cars?
Well, let's face it. When you open up the head roll, and it gets expensive. I've heard anywhere from 8,000 or a little more for heads, and teams have 4 sets. That's $32,000. Now, if you want to think about something really stupid, you're spending $32,000 just for your heads, and you're running for $1,000.
Yeah.
Of that math.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's that, at least Selinsgrove, they are up in the ante, though, with what they're paying. They're paying, if I recall, $2,000 to win weekly now.
Who is?
Selinsgrove.
Yeah, Selinsgrove's paying $2,000, but the key is there, what the heads they're getting they're supposed to be, the longevity's supposed to be a lot more. You can fix them, whereas if you blow up, depending what 358 heads you get, they're junk.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they'll save money. They won't save money initially because you have to switch over, but in the long run you will. But back to the car counts, you know what? I'm not panicking yet. I stuck a note in one of our things that a paragraph note in something I read earlier this week and said something to keep your eye on. It's early.
Yeah.
We went through this last year. I'm not concerned about the Lincoln 18 cars at Lincoln at all. I am a little leery of the Grove only getting 14. If the weather was bad, the track was going to be super fast. It's going to be locked down. It was going to be one groove because of the weather. So maybe that kept some teams at home.
So would you relate the 358 car counts more to its early season and the weather based off the tracks, or would
right now? I'm not panicking yet. Now, if we're in the middle of May and we're getting 14 cars, or if we're not even getting a full field at Williams Grove,
right,
then there's a problem.
Because that field has the potential to be like 40, 45 is probably the sweet spot of car counts.
Well, there's a lot of 358s out there. It's just a matter of how many guys can afford to run. If you're running Williams Grove, can you afford to run Williams Grove, Selinsgrove?
Right.
Yeah, it's a cost factor. We look at it as a whole. 358 guys they're more like our
sportsmen
guys they can't run. They don't have the money to run that many nights a week.
Right.
Now one thing, while we're on the car count, Jeremy,
especially when you're spending that much on
heads.
motor pieces. Not motors.
What is your opinion so far of the car counts for the 410s? I know we were at Selinsgrove. We were talking about. Charlie paid a pretty nice purse there on that Sunday show and only got 16 cars.
Well, the weather was horrible, though. You and I were standing there. We should have started a fire in a bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cold.
I knew that was going to happen. But here's the scary part of that, and we talked about it, is what if Holt Graver and Kemenall don't show up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know
it. Then you're talking 14.
Yeah.
It should have been pulled. That race should have never went on. I knew Dietrich wasn't going to go. Even though the day before he talked about it, He, by the way, did not go to Williams Grove to practice like everybody thought he did.
Okay.
You know, the car count, we go through this every year. We make up this issue that, what's going to happen after Speed Week? We're not going to have any cars. You know, then, like, Schuster shows up, Bobby Howard. You get your field fillers in coming out of the woodwork that run 8 to 10 races a year, and you get over 24. You end up pushing 30. The Grove at 30 last week when the weather wasn't good. I'm not concerned about 410s at all yet. I mean, the Sealands Grove thing, I think it was just weather. Nobody was coming out to run in that.
Yeah, it was a brisk day. The nice part was the sun came out after the racing was over.
Yeah, it was nice when I was walking out of the pit area and finally started to warm up.
Yeah. Now I know one of the other thing you've written a lot of columns this week and recently. Again, this is all on PennLive.com. If you just go to the motorsports section, you can find Jeremy's stuff. Or, as I mentioned before Jeremy came on, we do have it on the front page of Dirt Track Digest. The link is right there. You can read a little bit of the story, then just click here and it'll take you right to the story. A lot of changes this year in Pennsylvania in terms of guys switching rides, guys limited schedule. What do you think about, Lance and a couple of those other guys that are doing the limited Pennsylvania stuff? How is that going to affect them? I mean, Lance is a guy that normally runs, 80 to 100 races a year, with the Hefner team. Now he's going to cut back to 60 race schedule?
You know what? Deweese is a funny guy because he can be okay in any situation. That guy adjusts and doesn't complain. He doesn't complain about tires. He doesn't complain about. I've never known that guy to complain about anything. So you know what? He's going to embrace this. They don't have their big track stuff together yet, so I'm assuming he'll be at Lincoln this week. Grove, I think, like I said, I think it's going to rain out tomorrow. He'll be around, and it's going to be on performance too. If they start doing well, they're going to race more. He told me they're going to Knoxville, which. Okay, for sports team, not to. I don't. If you're not even going to go to Williams Grove for the opener, I really don't understand going to Knoxville. But that's a big paying show, and Deweese still has to make money. I think he'll be okay. I think he finished 5th at Lincoln. He's probably going to run a little more conservative. People got to remember, Deweese is very good at finishing, not cracking stuff up. Just making things last. He's done it his whole career.
Yeah.
Never known that guy to have a year where he just wrecked a lot. So, look, what's the other choice? Nobody was beating down his door.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we've seen it with our modified racing here as of the last, 8-10 years where there is no more rides. Like when a guy loses a ride,
it's gone.
Yeah, you're fighting to find a ride. I mean, and at this point, there's not many car owners left in Pennsylvania.
No, it's a lot of family-owned stuff, and they're not going to kick their kid out. So, look like Brent Marks, for instance. Brent Marks is going on the road with the Outlaws 20, 25 times this year. The reason he's doing it is because he's hoping he gets noticed, and then somebody gives him a ride, and his family's off the hook. I think you're seeing a lot of that. The problem with Brent Marks is, his first race is going to be Eldora. I don't know if he's ever seen the place. I know I've seen it a lot. That's a dangerous place to start your World of Outlaw camp.
Yeah. I've been there twice to watch it rain, but I've never seen a race there. So,
and the other thing is too for Marks, it's kind of interesting. He's had a bad start. It's been feast or famine. He's either not finished or not made the show, or finished in the top 5. So, I don't know. When you go out on the road, like I'm either going to do it like Logan Schuchart and just throw everything at it and take your chance, or you got to win something. And I don't know if Brent is good enough to win something out there, like let's say at Kings Royal, or even the night before the Kings Royal, or at Lernerville, or win an Outlaw show. I mean, you'd think if he was going to win an Outlaw show, it'd be on his home turf.
Right.
I think that's a problem. I think Hodnet's very interesting. The Hodnet Hefner thing is very interesting. I'm actually writing something tonight, and I'm going to put it up tomorrow. Hefner's. I like Mike Hefner. He is pretty honest. I just don't think there's much of that in this business anymore. As far as owners, I think they all lie. Or they at least fib or omit, which to me is lying. I asked one of the questions is that I'm kind of focused on, is there pressure to win this year? He kicked Lance Dewease out of that car after 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty quick hook.
Yeah. Especially for a guy like Dewease.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a guy who's won 300 races.
Yeah.
Right.
297. But, so there's got to be a lot of pressure on Hefner to get it done with Greg Hodnett, and it hasn't happened yet. Again, it's early season. But the last 2 races, they didn't cinch. Grovey has motor problems.
Yeah, they've gone through
in the top 5
couple motors, right?
And the brakes go.
Yeah.
How long? Now that's not Greg's fault because Greg's very easy on equipment. So that's definitely an ongoing story. I think it's wide open down here because I don't think there's a dominant car or dominant team, and I think the guys that are dominant drivers are in new rides, and it's going to take a while for them to get them accustomed to their new surroundings.
Right.
Do you think it's more of a honeymoon period there for Hodnett right now, not having his normal crew chief with him as well, just a new ride, new situation?
Yeah, Greg's a businessman. Greg's probably one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to in the pit area. He gets it. This is a business to him. This is a job. And and nobody wants to win as much as he does because that's how he gets paid. He doesn't have somebody else on the side giving him money just to run a car. Dewease had Owens helping him out last year with money on the side. So I don't think Hodnett, what he makes is what he makes.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole crew, I had somebody yesterday tell me that Greg Hodnett sucks without Lee Stahl. And that's how they said it. And it was another driver. And I kind of chuckled because I don't think Greg Hodnett sucks. How many times has he been without Lee in this area?
He won with Lee when Lee had his sister's wedding in Hawaii for Speed Week. Didn't Greg do well?
Yeah.
Without Lee.
He didn't win, but he was in the top 5.
He was competitive.
Very smart. That engineering degree isn't terrible. I think he knows what he wants, and I think it's just a case that Ryan Hand, who's the pseudo crew chief coming over from the Demco team, who's never been a crew chief before, I think it's going to take time. And it's like Greg said the other day. He said, I'm conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Lee is aggressive, and they kind of met in the middle, and it worked. I think they just need to get. I just think Greg and Ryan and the Hefner team just need to, they're plugging away. I know Mike Hefner's happy because the car's moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going backwards.
Yeah, the heat race at Selinsgrove was impressive when he was running 6 and then drove his way up to a redraw position.
On a fast track. Or daylight surface, however you want to say it. And, when he went out for his heat race, I thought it was heavy. And I didn't think there were a lot of gurus out there. So, yeah, and I agree with you. It was a pretty impressive run. And then, of course, the motor failed in the feature. You don't know if it was going early or what. But they'll be okay. It'll take some time. And I think they all know that. I think Hefner knows it. I think Greg knows it. And I think the guys on the crew know.
What's your thoughts on Blaine Heimbach, considering that opening day run at Selinsgrove was impressive? Is this his year? Not that he didn't have a great year last year, winning the Port Championship, and winning the Dream Race. Where do we see Blaine at the end of the year? Is he going to win more races?
You know what? There's a guy that you could just see this coming. He got Timmy Elwell with him, turning the wrenches. Ryan Taylor won the Dream Race last year.
Okay, I knew he won. Was it 2 years ago? I knew I was going to mess that up.
2 years.
Yep.
No, that's okay. I actually put Blaine in last year because I forgot Ryan Taylor.
Okay, so we're even.
But I made it. Luckily, the great thing about online is you can just correct it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I never screwed that up. You read it wrong.
Yep.
But you know what? I like Blaine. I think that team's going to do very well at Port Royal. I think they're going to win the track championship again if they run all the time. Timmy Elwell is a very good crew chief. He's having fun, which was always the thing with Timmy. Timmy got wore down by the grind, I think. Plus, he has a business. Funnel cakes, by the way. I'm just saying. So, you know, I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be a handful at Port Royal, and I would love that team to run all Speed Week. I'd love for that team to run more at the Grove, but they stay within the confines of what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
They're going to win some races. I like that team a lot, and you could just see this coming when you know, 2 years ago when they all hooked up, and then last year they just got going. Timmy and Blaine communicate really well, which, as you guys know, crew chief driver, if they communicate well, you can do some damage, and I think they're going to do that again this year.
I got a two-sided question for you. What do you think of Fred Raymer as a car owner, number one, and what do you think of him putting the Black Bandit in the car?
I think Fred, you know, I'm not one of these people who think Fred misses it as a driver. I think he wants to help his kids, and I think he's very nervous for them when they're on the track. So as an owner, I think he's good for the sport. I think any time Fred Raymer is in the pit area, it's good for the sport.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And, you know, as far as Stevie Smith, I mean, I'm anxious to see how he does this weekend out at Attica in CH Motorsports 83. You know, I don't. Stevie Smith is a weird story to me. I mean, he looks rusty all the time because, and he says it. I think every race at Williams Grove, I'm rusty.
Yeah,
he takes too much time off.
Yeah.
You know, he has a lot of time off in between races.
Yep.
I don't understand why this guy can't get a ride that is 60 to 70 races, 80 races. I don't understand why that's not happening.
Yeah, and this has been going on for years.
Business,
Yeah.
and I don't know if maybe he doesn't want that type of situation. But I mean, look, anytime he's in the pit area, it's good. It's good for fans. It's always good when he's in. You know, if he's in Fred's car. Again, that's a combination that in a year when everybody's kind of in flux and the pit area is in flux because guys are with new teams, why not throw another one on the heat?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, they you know, it's good. I like it's an extra car too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The car counts earlier. You know, that's important. He's going to run 15 to 18 races, and you know, Stevie Smith Jr. or Stevie Smith Jr. whatever you want to call him. I think we've dropped the junior the last like 6 years. He's good for the sport. He's a name. He's got to have some good runs, and I expect him to win by June.
Yeah. A couple, you know, we were on the crew chief talk earlier. We mentioned Lee Stauffer and Honda splitting up. What has been how much has that meant to Adam Wilt now having Stauffer helping him out on Saturdays at Lincoln?
I think it means everything. I think it's going to help him as a driver. I think it's going to help him for feeling the car. I think Lee's he's been around forever, and he learned a lot from his dad. He's a good crew chief. I think and the other thing is, too, he's not afraid to speak up. We all know that.
Yep.
I think he's going to challenge Adam a little bit. And, you know, Adam won the first race of the year. Do I think Monteith should have beat him? Yeah. Monteith drove over his head going in turn one and clipped the wall, which is no surprise.
They call him the Edge for a reason.
You know, but you know what? Good for Adam Wilt. I mean, I want to see what he does now.
Yeah.
I want to see can he start at Lincoln? Can he start 10th?
Right.
And drive forward.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the big.
That's
the big question.
That's an interesting pairing because Adam Wilt is one of those kids that he's got the equipment.
Yeah.
He seems to have the talent and the speed, but he's been very inconsistent in his.
Well, he won.
His
What was the
career.
award? I know he won. What was this? Rookie of the Year. I can't remember what the award he won was, but he had a really good season, and then he's kind of struggled since then.
Yeah, he's hit or miss.
Yeah.
He's very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. I just think he's wild at times. I think he's inconsistent. I don't know though if he's ever had anybody to settle him down.
Right.
Right.
That's what I was going to get to. Do you think he can calm him down?
Well, hopefully Lee can get his head on straight at the National Open because I think I've seen him flip down the front stretch 3 years in a row or 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I think Lee doesn't need to settle him down. I think Lee needs to channel it
Yeah.
in the right areas, and Lee can do that. I think Lee's talented enough to do that, and who knows? They have one win already.
Yeah.
Hodnett, DeLeese, and Monteith don't have wins.
Yeah.
I think that's a good situation both for Lee and for Adam, because Lee didn't want to travel as much.
Right.
As
It cuts back for Lee and gives him what he wants
because
to
they
do.
pretty much stay at home.
Yeah.
PA.
Yeah. One more thing for you here, Jeremy. I mean, I enjoyed talking sprint car racing. I could do it for the next half an hour, but we don't want to keep you on the line here all night long. But who's I know you mentioned Raymer being done, and somebody's got to fill those shoes, and you chose Danny Dietrich. Why Dietrich?
I agree with that.
I do too.
Why Dietrich?
Yeah. Why is Dietrich the guy you think is the next guy? I mean, you put a lot of ifs in there. If he can do this and this and this, but why did you pick Danny Dietrich?
You ever see him on Twitter?
Yeah,
He's very outspoken.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing, and I say this with all the respect in the world to Danny Dietrich. He's kind of hokey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's my take on Dietrich. And, I've often talked about some of the young guys that the older guys like in the pit area and who they don't like. Greg Hodnett said Danny Dietrich knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's a pretty good driver and he gets it. We've always said, about going on, and I'm going to use this example, and it might be off the wall, but you'll get it afterwards. Guys go on the World of Outlaw Tour, and they get their heads beat in, and they can't handle it. And then they come back home. You really get mentally beat down.
Yep.
Danny Dietrich could go out in the World of Outlaws Tour, get beat down, and won't care, and will just keep coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
There's something with Danny Dietrich and the way he is. He has a work ethic. He drives the trailer. He works on the car. He just can do everything. Now, this year, they've moved some things around so he doesn't have to do as much in the car. He gets people stirred up on social media. He's not afraid to say stuff about people. He can be exciting on the track. He can run smart on the track. He can be out of control. He just runs the gamut of everything.
Yeah.
Attitude, driving, and says what he wants.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, anytime I've ever talked to him, it is a great interview.
It was a fantastic interview.
Good night, bad night, and if somebody wronged him, you're going to know about it, and he's going to tell you all about it.
Because
And
he
I mean,
doesn't care. He's
it's
there to
awesome.
win.
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
there to drive the car and to win. And
Yeah.
he does not mince words.
No, he's good.
He said, he said this series, I'm expecting, not I think, not I want. He said, I'm expecting a big year this year.
Mhm.
Huge year is actually the way he said it. And he's going out on the road. He's going to run the Ironman. He's going to run Knoxville. He talked about possibly doing Ohio All-Star Speedway before Speedway here.
Yeah.
Whether he does or doesn't, still up in the air. But this is a guy who can get in victory lane and dare people to beat him.
Yep.
Now, the catch is he's got to win.
Yeah.
And
Right.
but he already has one, and I would love at Lincoln to see a Monty Dietrich rivalry or some kind of, I just want to see a rivalry like the old Jeff Shepard, Fred Raymer, even
Yeah.
though they got along, and there needs to be some life.
Well,
Yeah.
you need that just to have it for fans and to fill the stands. You
Right.
got to have those rivalries at every racetrack.
Yep.
But they have to be public rivalries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't be this hush-hush thing in the
Right.
pit area that's boring and no one knows about or
Right.
cares about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to be guys who can do some stuff on the track.
Yep.
And Dietrich's that guy.
Yeah.
I even told him, I said, we need a villain, you're it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the new
Yeah.
Raymer
I mean,
because he's outspoken.
Yeah, he's like Raymer. I mean, you talk to Raymer, he was the guy that was never afraid to say what he's thinking. You don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with him, but he will tell you how it is.
And he seems like the next PA posse guy to break out.
He
I
should
mean,
be.
he's had a
He's
couple of good years the last couple of years, but he seems like he's the one guy that you would think of first that's ready to really
Yeah.
break out.
I'm sure if he had more backing, he would go on the road more and travel
Well,
more.
he is gonna.
I mean, an outlaw guy.
Yeah.
If he had that kind of money, I think he would. But
Here's something disappointing. He called out the World of Outlaws last year. social media, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah.
Everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
He beat him. He was not the fastest car. I don't care what he says. If that track does not get locked down, Donnie Schatz blows him away.
Yep.
But here's the disappointing thing. No Outlaw guy gave it to Dietrich.
Nobody responded.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the world of Outlaws are missing now. I think that's what racing's missing.
Yeah.
People can get mad at NASCAR all they want. You know what? When Tony Stewart throws his helmet at somebody,
It's awesome.
Guaranteed, the deal between Keselowski and Kurt Busch, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're two hotheads.
Yeah.
Kurt Busch probably would be in jail if he wasn't racing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Who's that other guy who now is in jail because he's not racing?
Yeah. Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah.
I was going to say Tyler Walker,
That's
but
the one I was-
he's
Tyler
locked
Walker.
up.
Yeah.
Tyler Walker was the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that is in jail.
Yeah.
Yes, he's not racing.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see the video of him being arrested?
No, there's a video of that now?
Oh, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
Is it? Well, my question is it as good as the video of him and the security guard going at it in the pits at Williams Grove?
Nah, I don't think it's that good. Not until you get him around in the front of the car and they bend him over the car and you're staring right into his face.
I'm gonna look that
You
up
didn't
as
see
soon
that
as
video?
we're done here.
You never saw that video?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
look it
Flat
up.
tires on the car.
That's awesome. Well,
Okay,
well,
go check it out.
I'll check it out. Well, Jeremy, hopefully I'll see you. I think Saturday
note,
night, Port Royal.
I will be there.
All right, my plan is to be there too. Whether I'll be in the pits in the stands, well, I guess we'll have to wait to see. But
I'll make sure you get the pits.
I appreciate it, man. And hey, tell us a little bit about what you got going on down there on PennLive.com and where people can find your stuff and so on.
Yeah, it's PennLive.com. We just did a 7-part thing on Williams Grove's 75th anniversary. Go to PennLive and go to sports, go to motorsports. It'll include in all our sprint car stuff. We do, we're going to be traveling this year to Knoxville. We're going to be traveling to, Eldora, Charlotte. We're going to get around quite a bit, Lernerville, and we'll be providing coverage probably 5 to 6 days a week on racing, both in this area and nationally. I mean, we've really kicked up our coverage, and it's going pretty good. And I appreciate you guys and Mike for putting that up on DTD and getting stuff out there, and the other guys that have helped me out with that as well.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I mean, it's nice. I like the sprint car stuff, and I read your stuff every week.
You
anyways.
do?
Oh yeah, I love the sprint car. This is one of my favorite interviews we've done on this show.
Who knew?
But other than Greg Hodnett, this is probably my second favorite.
Really, Jeremy's done a great job on it.
Yeah.
He's done
It's
really
been
I have a
great,
feeling
so-
we'll be talking more sprint car racing.
So,
after Jeremy's
so
I admit this could get me shot down here, but I actually like the good modifieds, not the Grandview crappy modifieds.
yeah, I know we talked a little bit about it last week at Sealands Grove. You like the New
That's
York
because
guys.
you don't ever see him. We're bored of it.
Jeremy, anytime you want to come down to Brewerton on Friday night, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, let me think. Williams Grove or Brewerton? Huh? Where's he gonna go?
Well, I know that. I was extending an invitation.
That's
If you
nice
wanted
of
to
you,
see
Adam.
good modifieds on a Friday night, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way to do the right thing, hero.
Yeah. But Jeremy, again, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. And again, I'll see you at Port Royal definitely on Saturday night.
All right, hey, you guys take care. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Anytime
Jeremy.
you need anything, let me know.
All right, man. Have a good
Jeremy.
one.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Yeah. A weekly sprint car update. And that was a 30-minute interview.
Yeah.
I like
did a
that.
great job.
I like
He
that.
was a good dude.
Yeah, I
I'd
like
like
it.
to touch on the point that he's right. The world of outlaws right now.
He doesn't need you to tell him he's right.
Well, I'm trying to extend the conversation.
You're the announcer of Brewerton. He is a Central PA sprint car writer.
Yeah, I also
Sorry,
agree
Adam.
with
Had to beat
his,
you down a bit.
his outlook
His
on the
assessment
Outlaws right
on the
now.
Outlaws. Right now, it's all swooning
Yeah.
over Steve Kinser's last ride. All the respect in the world to Steve Kinser, but other than that, and the weekly results,
outlaw.
there's no drama.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting.
They all get along. They're all buddies because
Yeah.
they're all on the road
Right.
together
You
all
have
the
to-
time.
I mean, well,
and I
everybody-
understand that to an extent, but you really do need
And
some
there is
sort
a
of rivalry.
Pittman Schatz rivalry to an extent, but it's not
bad,
It's
though.
not, but the thing
remotely.
is you have to, like Jeremy mentioned, you have to win a lot of races, and you have to, you got to have that attitude, that swagger about you. I mean, Donnie Schatz, I don't think there's any rivalry with him because The guy's won everything, and you can't. There's nothing you can do to better him.
He's
You're
cool
not
as
going to be better than him.
He's cool as a cucumber
Right.
too. He
Yes.
doesn't get frazzled very often.
No, I mean, if anything, he frazzles other people. You know, like I brought up on here.
They
I
all
talk-
get frustrated.
I talk about the pass that he put on Darren Pittman at Volusia. I mean, he just said, "Yo, here I am, brother.
See ya."
See you later. Thanks for coming.
He
Have a
leaves.
nice day."
He leaves the other guys talking to themselves. Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
At the end of the
so
night, they're
I
just
believe,
talking
You
to
know,
themselves.
now here's an interesting question that just came up in the in the chat room, and we can talk about it for a minute. Explain to me why everyone thinks if you're a wing sprint car driver at the top of your game, you have to go tour with the Outlaws. Now, I will answer that question based on my opinion. You can be good in Central Pennsylvania. That is by far the toughest weekly field you're going to face. And
Absolutely.
of course, California, you know, there's some wing stuff out there, but I don't think the guys that race out there, and this is no offense to them, they don't have the high dollar teams
They're
like
not
we
on
have
par.
here in Central PA. You don't have the same competition out in Ohio, and I think you get to a point when you race in Central PA, if you're a young guy, your next logical step is if you've proven yourself here, is
it's
to
a
go
stepping
on the
stone to
road
that.
and to go and show that you can compete with the best of the best. Because
rather than staying at a few select tracks in an area, going all
Right.
over the country and doing that.
right, and that proves that you are the next.
We
you
do
know,
gotta we do gotta pay a bill here when you're finished. With
yeah, I will, but that just proves that you're the next. You're
Big
backing
thing.
up what you did.
Yeah.
You know, and that's tough to do. I mean, you look, Cody Dara struggled
Of
when
course
he
it
got on
is.
the road. Lucas Wolf struggled when they got on the road. It's not being good at Lincoln, Williams Grove, and Port Royal, Sealands Grove. That's good, but if you want to take your career to the next level,
And
if you want to
you
be a professional race car driver, yes, you can do it in Central PA because of the amount of races you can run and the money that is paid. But if you want to take your career to the next level and have people notice you and be somebody in sprint
Right.
car racing, you have to go on the road with the
you
Outlaws.
bring up Cody, and I still don't think he's gotten to the next level.
And to add to that point, you can be moderately to very successful in Pennsylvania with moderate funds. If you want to take that jump, and I think that's what Logan Schuhart's battling right now. He's got the talent, but he does not have the funds.
No, what they're trying to do is
that's
impossible.
Struggling with him is, yes, he's a platinum member. Yes, is he getting certain discounts, especially with trying to do the whole series? Yes, but I feel as to make it from Central Pennsylvania up to that World of Outlaw level, you need more money, and that's something
Well,
that
obviously,
Logan Schuhart
but you
is
look-
struggling with right now because he clearly does not have that.
Well, you look at the guys on the road; they all don't have money. They're not every one of those teams is a 100 million or 100,000, you know, whatever. They're not all to that level, but you're always going to have the haves and the have-nots when you have a traveling series. You have guys that follow the Super Dirt Car Series that might not have the money that's necessary to do that tour right.
Right.
You know, something else somebody brought up here. Mentioning the All Stars. Why not go run with the All Stars? The All Stars are not the Outlaws. I mean, no offense to Dale Blaney, Tim Schaefer, Danny Holtgraver, and that. When you go race with the Outlaws, you're not racing 4 or 5 good cars. I mean, there's 10 to 12 good teams there.
Yep.
And again, there is no one better in a sprint car right now than Donnie Schatz. I don't care who it is.
There hasn't been for 10 years.
Right, exactly. He is the best of the best. Steve Kinzer, he might be getting up there in age, but he's still one of the best sprint car drivers ever.
Well, of
Kerry
course.
Matson, Kerry Matson can win races. Darren Pittman, I mean, he came to Pennsylvania.
Sammy's
was strong.
one of the greatest ever. He may be struggling right now,
Right,
but he's still one of the
right.
greatest
I mean,
ever.
absolutely.
If you want to race with the greatest sprint car drivers in the world, you go run with the World of Outlaws.
I've been singing
Bar
Kerry
none.
Manson's praises for the last 2 weeks. That team came out of nowhere, and he's already got a win. He had one stolen from him, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
and if you want to drive one of the greatest cars imported from Detroit,
Go ahead, do your thing.
You can pick it up from D'Amico Chrysler Dodge Depots over there today. Picked up a new Caravan to replace the Avenger. The Avenger.
we already mocked you for that, didn't we?
Wasn't well, yeah, but these are also the guys that are helping us.
I know.
give us the
Look at it
opportunity to
now
do the
while it's
show,
got no stickers.
Yeah, look at it now if you want to see what it look like. Get over there, say hi to the guys. Mike Godkin, Steve Riffle, Mike D'Amico put together a great deal and once again came through. Awesome guys to deal with. Get over there, say hi to Patrick in the shop, shake hands with Steve, Mike and Mike in the showroom. Full service parts department, repairs, and guaranteed the best deal in getting you into a new Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, or Jeep. Bring in a price quote from any other dealer, and those guys are going to match it guaranteed. Online, www.d'amicochrysler.jeep.com, or call the shop at 855-261-3035. Store open dailies at 8:30, Monday to Saturday.
Again, getting back to the All-Stars, people were trying to compare the All-Stars and the Outlaws. There is no comparison.
No, I totally agree
I love
with you.
the All-Stars, but believe me, I'm an All-Star guy. I love going to All-Star races because I think the racing is a bit better.
Yeah, and you see
because
different
the
guys.
qualifying format's different and so on and so forth, and the racing's really good.
Yes,
especially in Ohio where they get, we've been to
Ohio
Ohio
Sprint Week.
It's awesome.
Is
the
really good.
I mean, you watched the race last year at Fremont with Blaney, Larson, and Tim Schaefer.
Yes.
I mean, it was 25 laps of them all over each other.
Yep.
Or maybe that was 2 years ago now because it rained last year. Right. But
the All-Stars,
I knew what you meant.
you can rattle off a couple names. Dale Blaney.
The thing that you got to give them credit though this year
they got stars.
They're going to have a stronger field than they've had in a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean,
but you got the talent pool is a lot stronger by far in the world of Outlaws than it is in their
and then the budgets are there with the Outlaws too that they don't have with, because the guys, if they have a big budget, what are they going to do with it? They're going to go to the Outlaws.
Right. I mean, the budget to run
offense.
The budget to run the All-Stars is a little bit obviously less.
Yeah.
Your
they race for less money too.
Oh, exactly. But you're only. I mean, you figuring you're more regional. I mean, you're Ohio-based. A lot of your schedule is in Ohio. There are some New York races. There's some Pennsylvania stuff.
They do
and
some
they
out
do
west.
a northern tour up the Hoosiers and places like that. But ultimately, you're within 12 hours of home or whatever it is. You know, you're not going like the Outlaws are spending 4 weeks in California.
All over the entire country.
And what sucks for those guys is you're on the road for 8 weeks or whatever they're out there for, 16 weeks or whatever it is. And you can't go home. You can't come home. You go to Vegas. You stay at Vegas, and then you go to California, and you're stuck out there, and you can't come home.
And all week they're sitting there waiting
and they only
for the
run
next
one or
show.
two races a weekend.
Yeah.
While they're sitting in California.
Well, now they are okay. I'm not comparing
For
them.
an
I'm
entire
just
month
talking
and a half.
about teams that don't have unlimited funding, using them as a stepping stone. I think running with the All-Stars is a little bit of a stepping stone, but
not as much.
I don't know. I think Central PA is a stronger circuit
Agreed.
to get your teeth wet in than the All-Stars.
Yeah, but I certainly would consider the
All-Stars.
All-Stars
If I was a car owner and I
Right.
said you can run Central Pennsylvania or the All-Stars, no offense to the All-Stars, I would run Central Pennsylvania, and then if I could make the jump to the Outlaws from there, I would do it.
Yeah, I mean,
The advantage that I think the All-Stars have on, say, running the regional with the PA stuff is that the PA stuff, you're really in a select few tracks.
right.
And
Whereas
it's closer.
running with the
Closer
All-Stars,
to
you're going to do a lot more traveling.
Right,
You're
you're
going to see
gonna
a
get
lot more tracks
right.
and get more experience.
Ultimately, though,
because that's what you need is the traveling experience.
Right. Oh,
track to
different
track every
services,
night.
and so but if you want to, just think about this. If you want to run big track, you can do that. You can run Williams Grove
of
on
course.
Friday, Sealands Grove specials. You want to run small track, you can go run Lincoln on Saturday nights. I mean, every type of track that you're going to get to, you can do in Pennsylvania. One of the topics that came up is, guys like former Outlaw guys coming to PA. The reason they come to PA is because the money and the amount of races they can run.
Yeah.
They can run between 80 and 100 races.
Yeah.
They all pay a minimum of $3,000 to win, which now doesn't seem like a lot, but there's still a ton
There's
of
a lot of
$5,000,
big
a
money
ton of
races.
$10,000, $50,000, $20,000. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of big
there
money
is
races.
a ton
the Outlaws
of
come to town a lot.
right, and there's a
So do the
ton of big
All-Stars.
money
The
racing.
volume
where-
of races in that area is a lot. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
between-
races and a lot of opportunity to make money.
Yep.
And what people don't understand here in New York is, in our area, it's you race for points, you race for points, you race for points.
Guys don't-
That's
well,
not
this is the
necessarily
thing I've been ripped on
This is
in the
not
past.
necessarily that kind of situation in PA. If you
Well,
want
no,
to
we've
run for
mentioned that
money,
on
you
here.
can run for money.
We've mentioned it here because I took a ripping because I asked Hodnett, are you running for money or you're running for championships? And they're like, well, everybody runs for money. But the point of the question is that in Pennsylvania,
Forgot about that.
yeah,
That
as
was
long
fun.
as you're not committing to a track, you can run for money. I mean, you can go run the Dream Race. You can go run
Yep.
the Weichert Memorial. I mean, these races pay big money. You might miss Lincoln and a chance at the Lincoln Championship, but you can go do that.
Well, what does the championship pay at Lincoln?
I
Do
know
you
the
know?
Williams Grove one pays $20,000, $10,000 for the driver, $10,000 for the car owner. So, but again, you can go win $10,000 as a driver in one race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's
Yeah, you
why
win an
guys
Outlaws.
One $20,000 show and boom, right
yeah,
there.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's that's the way guys look at it. The bigger dollar teams, guys like Dietrich.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're bigger dollar, but the bigger talented
The bigger
teams.
PA guys.
Brett Marks is doing now. Hodnett, DeWeese, Raymer when he was racing. Stevie Smith. That's why these guys, they do that 60 race schedule because they can, because there's enough money to be won
Yeah.
running that limited schedule. I mean, DeWeese does it for a living, but there's still enough
Right.
money to do it that a few times and still support your family.
To support your opinion there, Chad Layton. Chad Layton runs at Port. Chad Layton wants
One
the
night a
Port
week.
championship.
Mhm.
Chad Layton runs for points at Port. He
Yeah.
does specials here and there, but
Yeah.
his goal this year is to run port and to win the championship.
See, now, and that's his goal. That's a different goal.
His goal.
Right. You talk about a guy like Doug Esch, same thing. I mean, he's with a team that's what they want to do. Port Royal will be their place, and that's what they're going to do. And I mean, every team has their own goals. I mean, but you look at a guy like Hodnett. Now, Hodnett he'll run all the big money shows in PA. He'll probably run weekly.
He'll
run weekly at Williams Grove and Port. But when there's a big money show, let's say it's the Knoxville Nationals or the Kings Royal or whatever, they're going. The All-Stars are in New York. They're going.
He's running like 100 shows.
Right. That's what he wants to do. He wants to take it
and don't forget,
to that level.
Earlier in the season, I believe they did that with DeWeese last year. They ran East Bay. They slapped a 360 motor in there and ran for big money.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a 410 show.
Oh no. And that's the thing. Those higher the 360 National Open at Selinsgrove pays $10,000 to win or $12,000 to win.
They're running both during Knoxville, I think, too.
Right. Oh yeah. Go out and run. They're gonna miss the dream race. But if I go out, then it won't matter because I'll be at the 360 Nationals anyway. So,
right.
But oh wow, that's a lot of sprint car talk for 1 minute.
I
love it.
I think another downfall, and again, don't take it the wrong way because it's a great learning experience to do it in PA. But I think another one of the negatives is not only, like I mentioned earlier, there's limited racetracks because you only have a select few, but also the surfaces with the red clay in Pennsylvania is so much different than what you see throughout different parts of the country.
Well, again, but you can get that.
Can really mess you up as far as surfaces. But if you stick to one area, one region, for say 5 years and then try to go out on the road, it can really mess with your setups because it's so different.
Well, you've seen PA drivers come up here running with the Outlaws here and running with the All-Stars, and they're like,
they're lost.
I think Greg Cotton that one year was like, I've never seen a track as slick as Fulton Speedway was tonight. It is stupid slick
because New York tracks
and they're not used to running on that, and you can see
but I mean they still get to move around down there. I mean you got to figure you got PA Speed Week, so you can go run Grandview, you get to run Hagerstown. You run your traditional tracks, but they also go to a place like Path Valley. They go to Susquehanna. I mean they go to different tracks where you're going to get that. And again, if the All-Stars come east, Canandaigua's going to have the All-Stars this year.
Super slick.
Fulton will have the Outlaws, so will Rolling Wheels. So if they want to come up and travel, I know Steve Buckwalter during Dirt Week last year came up to Rolling Wheels and raced.
Yeah. Yes.
So the ability is there for these guys to get on the road. So I mean, again, we're debating here. Central PA is good. If you can't get a ride to run the Outlaws, the second best option for you to make money is running in Central Pennsylvania.
If I had to choose All-Stars or PA, I'd choose Central PA. Mike, if you were a car
owner, you're choosing Central PA for a couple of reasons. First off, the money's there. There's enough money shows that you can pay the bills.
Yeah. Agreed.
And secondly, you get to sleep in your own bed every night. I just said that in the chat room. You don't have to go and drive 12 hours or
you're not sleeping in your living.
You're not sleeping in your toter half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It depends on what your goals and what you want.
Yeah.
Like if I was doing it myself and I was the driver, I'd want to see all the tracks I could get. So I'd maybe start with the All-Stars just because of the new tracks that I would see.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because of living in this region, I've seen
majority
of the other.
I mean, here's the thing with that though. You're still going to get your fill of Attica, your fill of Fremont.
Of course. You're
going to get to go to Eldora. You're going to go to Lernerville. I mean, those are the staples of the All-Star Tour. But I mean, on the bonus, you're going to go to Port. You're going to go to Lincoln, I think there's Lincoln on there, and you're going to go to. You're going to go to Williams Grove.
Again, you could do something like Dietrich's doing. He's not running for points anywhere. He's running for money. So he is doing the traveling. He's based in central Pennsylvania. He's running those central PA tracks, but he is going to run the Ironman. He is going to Knoxville. He can get the best of both worlds, but still staying in central Pennsylvania for the majority of his schedule.
So, I mean, this is entertaining. I tell you, it's fun.
What are you reading in there?
No, we're just. I mean, the chat room's kind of going with what we're going with. The argument. Dean Reynolds is in here talking. All-Stars, there's 40 races. Most of them are 5,000 to win or more. So the money's there again, and there's tow money involved in that, show up money and all that. It's not outlaw money where I think.
Is he still posting every time? Every time he makes a comment in the chat room, is he still posting immediately underneath it? My opinion, presented by AT&T.
No, he's not. So we're good on that. But no, and there's a lot of discussion going on in here about all these various topics that we're debating. So it's good. I mean. Again, we can talk sprint cars I can talk for 4 hours, but I mean, I think we've beat it to death now. I think, getting back to one of the things Jeremy did bring up with that rivalry, which I mean, he's right. Right now, there's not that. But
as far as the Outlaws go, the closest thing to a rivalry is more so between Casey and Tony as owners than there is drivers.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It needs to be the drivers.
Yeah, but the problem is Donnie Schatz is just. I mean, Pittman won the championship last year. But when you look at the stats, Donnie Schatz
Donnie
dominated
the amount of races that he
Middletown.
won was ridiculous.
I mean, he won Knoxville.
Darren was just
again.
so consistent; it paid off.
It's
Right. Well,
kinda like
Darren,
the,
you know what got Darren the championship? I mean, what was it? 14 points.
The
Ultimately,
start, he had a great start, and
he had
Donnie
it.
didn't.
Well, that and they
Time
give
trial.
points for time trials, and
Yes.
that was ultimately the difference because
Yep.
he timed quick
Faster.
time.
Yeah, McMahon had
More
the
times
most
than Donnie
qualifying
Schatz.
fast times, and Pittman was like second most,
Right,
I think.
right, and
You get
that's
points for
huge,
that.
and that's huge. Yeah, because it's what like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something like
Yes,
that.
yep.
Yeah, so those extra points at the end of the year, there's where
Yes.
it
You
is.
know what I akin
Yep.
the rivalry to? It's shots versus the field. And it used to be it's Tiger versus the field. And you got that right now in the world of Outlaws. It's not like a Pittman versus shots kind of thing.
Right.
It's shots against the field.
I just don't
And
think
half
right
the time
now
you're going to pick shots
right
because
now,
he's just that good.
I mean, there's just nobody that's as good as Donnie Schatz. It's just there's no other
and
sprint car
like I said,
driver
there
in the
hasn't
country.
been for 10 years.
Right, Donnie Schatz has been the man. He's just
Exhibit A, Knoxville Nationals.
well, yeah. I mean, 6
Yeah,
out of
that's,
7.
That's just ridiculous.
That's
Or
just
7 out of
silly.
8, whatever it is. However many times I've gone, he's won them all but one. But
B main to win.
yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
it's nuts.
yeah. So I
I
mean,
it's silly.
yeah, oh yeah.
What he's accomplished there.
We'll
is
transition
just
this
silly.
talk into big rivalries in modified racing.
No, we're gonna go
No?
to the NASCAR thing first with Keselowski and Kurt Busch. We got to talk about that.
Yeah,
How-
absolutely.
First off, how freaking entertaining was that? That he drove him almost into the fence on the front stretch with a car that had
It-
no front bumper on it.
It was entertaining, although I was really kind of pissed off because I got Brad Keselowski on one of my fantasy league teams, and he freaking killed me. Jerk.
Well, I found it funny that he's trying to wreck Kurt Busch from behind at first with no front bumper.
Yeah, I know. All he's got
You're
is
going to damage your
got a
radiator.
ball.
the radiator sticking
You're
right out. He's got
gonna
no
damage
hood,
your
no
radiator.
fenders.
You know what though? At this point, what does he care? He already won a race,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
You're
that's
gonna-
Exactly.
That's what I said. It's a
Exactly.
throwaway race
Yeah.
now, and it doesn't matter because he already has won a race. So I know he's not technically locked in the chase, but for all intents and purposes, he's in the chase.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got to be what top
Because
30 in
the
points.
likeliness that we're going to have more than 16 different winners is just
It's
not,
very unlikely.
It's possible, but it's not,
Not likely. Right.
Although
gonna
we've
have-
got 6 different winners already.
But
now.
again, we've talked about it. It changes the strategy. Guys race a different
yes,
way
it
now.
does.
Because once
Very
they got,
much so.
yeah, I mean, you look how much different. You know, we've said it last week. We can say it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is. There's no pressure on him at all.
And he's racing.
And he's
the best
raced-
I think
had.
what released his pressure was him winning Daytona right
Right.
out of the box. That took a
the
lot of weight off of
pressure's
those
not
shoulders.
on him as it would be as if
Right.
it
He's already
was
in. He's got it
normal.
locked in.
Yeah.
And now every race he's running well. I mean,
Yeah.
even when he's had problems, he's still running well.
Yes.
On the flip side of that, this might be a little exaggeration here, but how is Jimmy Johnson? Jimmy Johnson, normally really good at Martinsville. He could not keep up with Kurt Busch.
I
Is
just
this
like that he-
affecting Jimmy Johnson to the fact that now everyone's trying to run for the win, and now he's not winning as much?
Well, he's had a good car every week. He's just
Yeah,
at the end
he's-
of the race, he just got beat.
I mean, he led the most laps again on Sunday, and he just at the end of the race, it just so happened that Kurt Busch was
Thank God.
a little bit better than Jimmy at the very end.
Thank
but
God.
It really looked like Jimmy was going to
I
win
mean,
the
listen,
race again.
I love looking at my Facebook feed when Jimmy Johnson's leading, and everyone like anybody but Jimmy Johnson,
know.
please, anybody but Jimmy
But
Johnson.
this is the thing. If
He
this
is
was
good,
point
though.
racing, Kurt Busch, there was a point in the race where Kurt Busch was trying and couldn't do it. If it was the old point schedule, Kurt Busch could say, okay, well, I can't get by this guy. I'm going to settle for a second place
yeah.
finish, a good points finish.
Yep.
Now with the
Will
with the
yourself
points
to
the
get
way it
that.
is,
Go for
Kurt
it.
Busch is like, no, screw
Yeah.
the second
Yeah.
place finish.
Yeah.
I need to win. And he
especially
eventually got
with-
by Jimmy Johnson.
Especially with the start that he's had.
Yeah.
Because he's been terrible.
terrible. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even in the top 30 in points until he got the win, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
And you got to be in the top 30 in points to
and
get
win,
into the
and
chase.
win. Yeah, so it was good. I mean and to me, that's why I love the short track. I mean, now we can be done with NASCAR for what until they come back to what Martinsville, or
Richmond.
Bristol, Richmond.
Richmond in
It'll be the
May.
next real race, right? So now we're
Another
done with
person
that.
benefiting from the points is Carl Edwards because those Fords have been not good.
I don't know. Those
At the
Penske
mile
Fords
and
have been pretty damn good.
Yeah,
With the-
They've
well,
been
they've
qualifying up front every
they
damn race.
qualify up front, but they haven't
I'm
raced
talking about
as well.
the Roush
Brad's
Fords.
got to win.
Right, but I'm saying
They've led a lot of laps.
Yeah.
The Roush Fords
They've
at a
been
mile
good.
and a half have not been good, and
Yeah.
that
No,
helps
the
that
Roush
point
Fords.
standings.
Yeah, that's a different.
The Roush Fords had to get a little
Carl's
specific.
been
All right.
solid and consistent like he normally is, but they haven't been, as a whole, they haven't been stellar.
And that's something that's going to maybe boost ratings for NASCAR. Is now we're going to Texas. I don't think any retaliation will be happening at
No, that
Texas
place is
because
too
that
fast.
place is too fast. But
Stupid fast,
it's
yeah.
going to help ratings a little bit for NASCAR because it's now Kurt Busch. When is he going to get that payback from Keselowski now? It might not be this week. It might be next week or the week after that.
place
But
like-
it's definitely going to boost ratings and something NASCAR desperately needs at this moment in
Yeah,
time.
a place
Is some
like-
kind of rivalry.
if it presents itself, the opportunity.
Oh, it's gonna
A place
happen.
like Richmond is a place that you could
Right.
get away with it.
Right. So again, so there's our NASCAR talk for the week. What was the topic you wanted to come back to earlier?
Modifieds and rivalries.
Rivalries and modified racing. Do we have any?
There is actually.
Oh, Matt Shepard and Stuart Friesen. That's got to be mine.
That's a small one. I don't think it's a big one.
I think
though.
it is. I mean, it was on a Sunday at Utica Rome. I mean, if you come to Utica
you
Rome
would-
weekly,
you would- you
it
would see
is a
that every
rivalry
week.
because, when Matt wins, there's a certain section of the crowd that
Yeah.
cheers, and when Stewie wins, there was a certain section of the crowd that cheers. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I can
it's
see
not
that.
Lou Lazaro, Dave Lape, Jack
No.
Johnson, but.
No.
No, and I don't think it's.
in modern era racing, there isn't that type
I
of rivalry.
think as far as modifieds, though, if you want to go to, say, a particular track, I think you throw in Grandview, the big three, with Strunk, CVD, and Dwayne.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
There's
they're the-
huge
yeah.
rivalries between
Yeah.
all their fans. All their fans, whichever one of those three they root for, they hate
each other.
the other
Oh,
two.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it is serious there.
Yeah, you also there's a friendly rivalry. I mean, now they're teammates, so that's going to change. But there was a friendly rivalry with Jimmy Phelps and Matt Shepard, especially at Brewerton and Fulton. Who's going to win this week? Because at a certain point in time, it was one of the two of them. And there's another rivalry: anybody but the red cars.
Yeah.
It's the red cars
Well, we got
versus
another
field.
one we've got Go Down versus Pouch at New Egypt. That's
Yeah,
another good
that's a
one.
big one, yeah.
Yep. So there's rivalries.
There
out there.
are individual tracks.
I just don't think you
Not
see
as
it.
a whole, though.
I mean, from my perspective, I've talked about it on here, but the thing that's different about PA, and I think why I love the atmosphere at a place like the Grove, as compared to some of the stuff we see in New York, is just because the fans in PA seem to be far more passionate about their rivalries.
Yes.
Not that they're more
Yes.
passionate about the sport. I was sitting in the beer hill, and this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The field goes down into turn one, and Fred Raymer flips. Now, I am not one to cheer when somebody wrecks. Ever. I don't. I mean,
yeah, because the guy could be
right,
hurt.
right. So they say he's okay, and the crowd erupts.
goes
F
nuts.
you, Raymer, screw you. Screaming. Good, you're out of the race. You suck. And next thing you know, I'm looking at a guy down 2 rows down in front of me. He starts shaking a beer, and he's wearing a Fred Raymer shirt, and he just walks up, stands up, and all the people cheering against Raymer, and he sprays them all with the beer. Now, I'm not saying that's a smart thing to do.
Not
but
if
I
you're by
gotta-
yourself.
Not if you're by. But from where I was sitting, it was freaking hilarious.
Oh, yeah. If I was sitting there, I'd laugh, too.
I'm like, that takes balls. I mean, I can't believe the guy did that. But it was. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Here, as far as here in our region and modifieds, you were talking about it's everybody against shots. Well, here it's like everybody against Brett.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Either you
'Cause
love Brett Hearn or
he's
you
the best
hate
we've
Brett
ever
Hearn.
You know
seen.
where we
in
hear
a
that the
modified.
most? Super Dirt Week.
Oh, yeah.
If Brett
Yes.
blows up, you
Yep.
know it.
Oh,
if
yeah.
Brett's in
The
the
place
lead,
erupts.
you know it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Middletown is another place
Yes.
where either they love Brett Hearn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen a guy moon Brett Hearn under a red flag.
Yeah.
At Middletown.
Me too.
Like literally, go to the fence.
I was there that day.
Yeah, remember? I mean, it's wrong, but it's awesome. I mean, that's what we need. I mean, we all need. The sport in general needs us all
Needs
to have
more
that
of
passion.
that.
Yeah, we need that passion.
yeah.
I'm not saying moon your least favorite driver. I'm
No.
just, but
Within reason.
yeah, but it's fun to have those arguments in the stands. It's fun to jab at people and
Yes.
and stuff
All
like
in good
that.
fun kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
It
and
can't be, you can't go out, oh, this jerk that was sitting next to me is a Danny Johnson fan, and he was pissing me off because Danny won the race, and I go out and flatten his tires.
imagine-
No, you don't do that.
You
You
just
imagine-
argue, you have your fun in the stands,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, I can remember
You pat
I
each
mean,
other on the back, and you go
it was
home.
2001 or 2002. Maybe it was a little later, 2003. Before I got into writing and all that, I used to go to Susquehanna for fun on Thursday. They used to run 410s on Thursday nights, and I'd drive down and I'd go. And this Raymer fan up top would never shut up. And I mean, it's no secret, I'm a Honda fan. And this was Honda was driving the Apple cart, and I turned around and got him like, sit down and shut the hell up. Nobody wants to hear your Fred Raymer crap. So the guy and I were yelling at each other for 15 minutes, right? We both stopped. 5 minutes later, he's like, yo. I turn on what? He goes, want a beer? I'm like, all right. We go up and we're standing there. Next thing you know, we're having a beer together, and we're shooting the crap, and we're
Right.
still giving each other crap, but we're having a good time. I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's the way it should be.
That's what it should be. It should be fun. All of it should be in good fun. You know,
Yes.
and that's
Talk about another thing with rivalries real quick is the Outlaw 200 when Danny Johnson got into it with Matt
so
Shepard.
you got that. And you've got Jimmy Phelps and Stuart Friesen. I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of brought up here in the chat room too. I mean, but again,
It's hard to single out
Imagine
Danny.
to go
He's
to
had a
Thank-
rivalry with everybody.
Thanksgiving dinner with Alan Johnson, Danny Johnson, and Matt Shepard all sitting at the same
I
table.
think you need the best chance we have at a good strong rivalry is a Friesen Shepard one, because again, you got to have guys like like Jeremy mentioned. You got to have guys that win races, and those two guys right now are the predominant race winners.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at modified racing the last couple of years, and you look at Ariotto and overall wins list and dirt modified racing, it's either Stewie or it's Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, Hearn wins a lot of races, Lebanon Valley, and I'm sure, and there is that Hearn-Bichetti, rivalry down there.
Right.
But it's not. He's not winning those.
It's not
20,
as prevalent.
Right.
And when Stewie goes to Fonda, there's a rivalry there between him and Matty D and maybe Varen.
Right. Yep.
And Ronnie.
But
because those are the guys that are going to win the majority of the races.
Fonda is,
but they don't win.
They're not winning enough.
All the races.
They're not beating Stewie enough
outside of Fonda.
Right. And they're not beating Stewie enough at Fonda to be a rivalry.
Right.
I'll never forget the quote that Matt Shepard gave me when I asked him what happened with him and Danny, and he looked at me straight in the face and said, "Well, he ruined my night, so I made sure to ruin his," and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are talking here, and again, bringing up the one we brought up. My dad just texted me. He's like, Jack, CD, and Lou. And
yeah,
late,
that was a classic,
Jack, it was
old school
CD
rivalry.
and Jack.
It was Jack. It was really a rivalry between
all
Jack
four of them,
Johnson,
right?
Dave Lape, CD Colville, and Lou Lazaro. Because if you grew up going to Fonda in
you
the
picked
70s
one,
and 80s,
and that was it.
Those were the four guys for a long, long time there. And if you liked one, you hated the other
one.
three.
Oh,
That's just the way it worked.
Polarizing
That was the
figures.
way it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Polarizing figures.
And they're all
Another
legendary.
polarizing figure.
They're all legendary drivers.
Barefoot Bob. You either love him or you hate him.
Right.
Well, the thing with Bob was always, to fans, he was always the nicest guy. Like, you never, I don't know anyone that could,
I think people just got sick of
there
him
was a phase
winning.
when he would win, and I'm like, oh, man, Bob
Not
McCready's
again.
here. We know who won this race. You know what I mean? But he never, I don't know who his rival would be. Like, who would you put, Bob McCready's biggest rival?
He never really had a rivalry, but he had friendly rivalries.
Right.
Him and Alan were always friends. They would compete at Canandaigua. They were the best of friends, whatever.
But that's what kind of, unfortunately.
But they never had a rivalry that
where
they hated each other.
Where did they compete?
CMP?
That'd be
Joe Plazik? I don't know.
Yeah, Plazik.
That's a name for
was
way
then.
back.
We had him on the show before.
Danny, of course, was at Canandaigua at that time, and
Alan.
You had good rivalries there too.
Payne.
Yeah.
They were all in their own kind of rivalry, but
now
I didn't go there weekly, so I don't know how it was on a regular Saturday deal. But I know what it was like at Fonda.
Right, we knew what we had at Fonda,
and it was
one of the most fun,
strong.
One of the most fun rivalries that I actually got to cover and watch was Steve Payne and Gil Tegg and Steve Payne and Charlie Donk at Black Rock. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Well, Payne was dominant.
Yeah, Payne won 12 races a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Certainly Steve had the upper hand in those equations, but it was so much fun to see the crowd reaction when Steve was second place. It was also fun to see the crowd reaction when Steve started 14th and was third by the time they got to the start finish line.
I know my first ever trip to Black Rock was when Payne was still running there, and when Huff just took it over, and he turned the place around, made it really, really nice.
When Lynn did a ton of work.
And,
and
that's all the new bathrooms and all
where,
the new concessions and stuff. And
yeah.
And Payne won the first night I ever went there.
And that's another instance of a track changing hands and keeping its name. When Dean Hogue took over from Lynn, it stayed Black Rock.
Right.
Yeah, it gets back to that. It's tough. I guess, again, some other names coming up. Brian Weaver, in the Southern Tier, he's got some rivalries with some various guys.
Yeah.
Him and Colson, I know, have
Recycler, right?
That's because they've been racing for so long.
Right.
You were talking about fan reaction. Now the biggest fan reaction is if you get a winner or someone in the lead with a couple laps to go that is lower budget than those big budget cars. Then you see a lot of fans getting on there.
You always
for the small guy against the big
underdog.
guy. That's almost more fan reaction nowadays than
dodgeball.
Than this person won or this person won.
Right.
Oh yeah. You always. I know it's nice when I'm at Brewerton. Not that I don't love interviewing Jimmy, Billy, Matt, the usual guys.
Right.
There's nothing like, I'm sure for you being an announcer and doing that stuff, there's got to be nothing like interviewing a first-time winner.
That's fun.
Absolutely.
That is fun because there's nothing. The excitement level of a guy that wins for the first time cannot be
they'll never
matched.
see that again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would agree with that. That is definitely
Jim Whitco.
Yeah.
That immediately comes to mind.
Yeah.
I've had a few guys, but. Who was it? The one I can't remember now. He was so happy that. Oh, I know. Interviewing Steve Kinzer after his last win was it was his first win. I'm sure it wasn't, but it wasn't like that. But to see how pumped he was, I was
a teenager. I was 85 or 6, I guess.
And you, my friend, are no Phil Beavers.
It's Beaver, not Beavers. There's
Beaver.
only one Beaver.
Whatever.
Was it? What
It's
car
not
was
multiple
the car?
Beavers.
Was it a
stolen line
yellow
anyway.
and blue car?
Yeah, 36.
Yeah, I remember it. Yep. I remember. That's one of the guys I remember from being a kid is Phil Beaver.
Right.
Yeah. There's not many I remember. I mean, just because I was so little, but
There's a few I
He
remember.
used to buy his cars
Tommy
from Jack.
Kinsella.
yeah.
He would buy
Yeah,
Jack's
for you
like
out
previous
here.
year.
Yeah.
He would buy Jack's previous year car.
Oh yeah, and then run it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Those are definitely. Again, and that's what we
Can
need.
you believe we're at an hour 40 already?
I know. I mean, we're we have.
Having
I
a
mean,
good
we've
time.
We
had-
still have viewers?
Yeah, we still got the same amount of
Yeah.
people we started with.
Yeah, we got 9.
You're even in the chat room, Bombers.
We got we got 9 showing on. We got 9 showing on YouTube, and usually that number's you basically triple that number to tell you how many are there. So
Yeah.
we're sitting with almost 30 people.
Well, not bad.
And then
Yeah.
the views go up over the week too.
What have we not
Everyone
covered?
watches live, so
Yes,
I don't
and
know.
We talked about the NASCAR
they
deal.
tend to go up because
We got
everybody
enough
wants
of
to
that.
see Adam Buchanan.
As soon as we start talking NASCAR,
Yeah.
people are like, "Screw this."
Yeah, what have we
Numbers
not
are
covered?
falling. I don't know. Was there any other topics we wanted to touch on?
What was the one you wanted to put a pin in earlier?
No, that was it. The rivalry thing.
Oh, that was
well,
fun.
the rivalry thing, and then lap cars. How to
lap
handle
cars.
them.
Well, yeah, we were
Because
talking.
Kerry Matson,
Oh, the
Kerry
Matson
Matson's
deal.
Kerry
deal out at Merced.
Matson was on a rail.
That's a tough question because you can't per se handle them because it depends on how the situation presents itself in front of you at that moment. Because every single corner, it's going to be a different scenario. You know what I mean? It's hard to play it out in your head before it happens because you don't know what's going to
If
happen.
this is a change in opinion for me or not, because I don't know what I've said in the past on
All
this
right,
topic.
hang on. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'll tell you.
with the move over flag or the hold your line flag, get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I think you should just let guys race. I mean, I know.
Well, I
that's what
think
the Outlaws
sometimes
do.
guys get confused about where am I supposed to be.
Right. I would rather just get rid of it and make guys race. Every
Or
position
where
you-
am I?
Yeah.
Am
Where?
I-
Yeah. I don't mind the whole. Give them a little twirl. Let them know, hey, the leader's coming. But
Right.
at that point, that's it. Once the leader gets there, the
Well,
guy's got to know that there's traffic.
I've seen both sides of it too, because I've seen races at Brewerton in particular where people are racing for a top 10 spot, and here come the leaders who are battling for the top 3 spots. So what do you tell that guy in 10th and battling for 9th and 10th place? You
Go
have to move your
faster.
battle aside because here come the leaders, especially for teams that are racing for points.
no, I get
Yeah.
it, but it's,
You're going to either A, screw the leader over, or screw yourself over.
ultimately, and Dean says, I think, hold your line. Run. If you're running the top, stay on the top.
Right, that's generally what they
Right,
tell you, but
right.
I think sometimes guys get
See,
confused.
personally, again, that's why I
Geez,
would not.
if I'm running the top, geez, was I supposed to stay where I am, or am I supposed
just
to go to
don't-
the bottom?
Well, the
Sometimes
problem
I
is
get
every
confused.
track has a different
Different
interpretation.
rule.
If the leader's
different
faster-
series have different rules.
Right. Just run your line, man.
My theory is
That's it.
if the leader's faster, he's going to find a way around you. Now,
Ultimately,
No,
and-
I mean, if it's one of those things where I understand your thought on the move over flag, but I also think that if they apply the move over flag in the right way, and those two guys running for 9th and 10th that realize that they're about to be lapped, get out of the way on the straightaway, the leader clears them, they go back to their race, you're back to square. I mean, those guys can go on about their business.
Well, you know what I think stinks about that though is that here's the thing: the leader gets the move over flag, or leader they'll show the flag
rest
to
of
the
them
leader.
don't.
The rest don't. So the guy running third, he's
Yeah,
screwed
if
now.
you're say half a straightaway behind the leader in second, you don't get the same courtesy.
Right, and I don't think if one doesn't get it, nobody should get it. It
Right.
should just be.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot
you
of it
make a good
depends
point
on.
there. I didn't even really think.
I-
I assumed.
yeah.
I kind of assumed that the first and second place cars that we're talking about were together when they got the move over flag. Those
Right, but
both-
I would
Yeah,
rather.
those
sometimes
guys,
they are.
those
sometimes
guys,
they're not.
those guys get the opportunity to both go by. We saw
Right.
that at the Martinsville race where the top two guys that were
Yes.
fighting for lead both got past the same lap cars at
Yep.
the same
Right.
time, and it worked out. But those guys were also significantly off the pace. Bringing that back, the move over flag and its application. You've got some guys that are out there that are off the pace. We've seen that flag used on. I hate to single the guy out but it's the example I think that everybody kind of thought of. Don Slover's situation.
I'm done.
Okay.
well, the reason why I brought that up all together
I'm just
was
saying there's guys that are sometimes out there that are significantly
They're in
off
the
the
way.
pace.
But
that-
here's the
It's
thing.
dangerous.
well, what
in a
sparked
way.
the whole idea for the topic is Kerry Matson was leading at Merced. He clearly had the fastest car. If he could have held on, he would have won. Lap car got in his way. Matson ends up flipping, and not only does he lose out on the win, but now he's got a damaged race car because there was a slower car off the pace. So my thought was, should that car should he have realized where he was in that situation, knowing that the leaders are behind him, and quit his battle, what he was going on for position, in favor of the leader?
Right.
Or is that the leader's responsibility, who then in turn flipped and lost the race, to get by the lap car, knowing that he's got a guy right on his back bumper trying to pass him for the lead?
I think it's both their responsibilities, although Kerry is the only one that can see what's happening. Because the guy that's being lapped doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. He only knows that the flagger warned him he's coming. He doesn't know how close he is.
Well, I don't know if
is he a straightaway behind me still, or is he right on my ass?
I don't think the Outlaws use a passing flag.
I don't know, do they?
I don't think they do, no, because if I recall, Dave Farney did not use that in Florida. The Outlaws, you're on your own to figure out where
a lot of things with lap traffic, too, also you got to take into consideration is the size of the track and the conditions of the track on that one given night.
Good point.
For instance, you want to use Martinsville. Chris, you brought up Martinsville. You look how tight the groove is at Martinsville. Everybody runs the bottom there. Mm-hmm. So when you're trying to go around, if a guy is staying in his groove on the bottom and you're the leader and you got to go around the outside, it's very difficult there. Or as opposed to a place like California where they raced the week before. The week before they were 7 wide in one photo.
Right.
So
the other thing too is you've got some place like Bristol, and I don't mean to pin this on NASCAR because we'll back it up here. A place like Bristol, if you make the lap car stay to the inside, now you got the leaders running up in the marbles,
right?
In a case like that, or you've got local tracks here. What if it's a dry night and you
get
a dust issue? Daytime race, you get a dust issue.
Gets rubbered up and everybody's glued to the bottom. It's hard.
Let's use Bruton because I've seen it as an example for a local track. If the leaders are coming up on you and you're fighting for position, what do? Is it the leader? Are we putting the onus on the leader? Are we putting it on the lap car to know where he's standing at that moment? Because I've seen it where there's a 3-way battle in the middle of the field, and here come the leaders. What's going on?
I don't think those guys should just stop racing for their position because they've been
Let's also
racing.
Clarify something that the track, in almost every case that we've talked about, the track has always had a driver's meeting where they somehow talk about lap cars. You're going to do X. Do you hold your line?
You hold your line, but what I'm saying is if there's one thing if you're coming up on one lap car or you're coming up on like 2 or 3.
Yeah, and Fulton's a good example because like the 200, they run around there 3-4 wide all race long. So there's cars everywhere.
So you can hold your line, but if 3 cars in front of the leader are all holding their line in the middle of the racetrack,
and I don't think
where's the leader to go?
I don't think those 3 guys that are maybe 3 wide for an entire, say, 5 laps in front of the leader, I don't think one of them should be required to just pull out and let because the leader's behind me. No, it's the leader's responsibility to get around them.
But then you're going to see the leader's lead evaporate. You're going to see the leader's lead evaporate because they are 2 or 3 wide. And then if I'm the leader in that instance, do I try to shoot the gap in the middle there? Maybe put my car at risk to damage because these 2 lap cars are going to battle it out here?
How bad do you want to get by?
Yeah, and what lap is it? Is it lap 50 or 175?
And then in turn, do you blame the leader for maybe dumping a car because he gave him a lap or 2 and okay, he's really not getting the point, a la Junior and McMurray. Junior went and shot the gap. Thought McMurray saw him, and McMurray got punted.
He punted him big time. The difference on that, it wasn't a lap car.
We've made a lot of references to NASCAR, and we're going to raise Sir Mike's ire if we continue.
That's why I'm not talking about it.
See, I knew he got quiet for a reason.
NASCAR.
But in Manson's instance, who was wrong there?
Again, my ultimate thing is just don't use it. I'm done with it. I think we don't need to use it. Let them race. You know what? If you're the leader, you got
It's so 1997.
It might be.
It's the leader's responsibility to get around.
I guarantee
this
will.
The leader's got to pass cars.
This will happen again this year.
It happens everywhere.
Well, it's going to happen at every track.
At every race, even
there isn't a track
that's
going to run a full season this year that isn't going to have that.
Right.
I can't think of the race it was, but I thought we talked about it last year where somebody had a killer lead and they went sailing off into turn 3 and there was lap cars running too wide and they caused the lap cars faster than they thought. I almost want to say it was at Canandaigua. They had to check up and either they went over the berm or they lost it going into the corner and they got up too high over the corner. Whatever happened and they lost the win.
I saw a car get destroyed at Fulton. Destroyed. The leader and a car had a flat tire going down. Flagger gave the driver, I'm not going to name names, gave the driver a passing flag. The driver with a flat tire went up the track right as the leader was going down off of turn 4. They collided right in the middle of the front stretch, destroyed both cars.
Yeah,
that driver was going for their first win of their career, and both cars were wrecked because one driver thought that they could move up to get out into turns 3 and 4. Whether a yellow should have been thrown, that's a whole nother situation.
I'll give you 2 examples where it will happen this year. Eastern States and Fonda's final race on Sunday afternoon in September.
Here we go. Rubber up.
Yeah, I mean, those are 2 typical races where you get the leaders locked down on the bottom, and it's tough to get by people. And when you catch the back of the field, do I step out of line? What do I do? Do I step out of line? If I step out of line and I don't pass this guy, I'm going to be 10th.
Right. Yeah, I mean, hey, you don't.
Do I use the chrome horn?
Yeah. So
it's one of those things. You just got to make up your mind, and life goes on.
Yep. So what do you think? We good?
I think that was a great
Have
show.
we missed anything?
Hour 50.
No, we're good.
YouTube's going to start getting upset here in about 10 minutes.
So I think we're good. I think we covered everything.
We covered everything. We back next week?
I
mean, we're in April now. We're pretty much
I should be here.
Sort of should be, at least until baseball heats up.
I'm here next week. 2 weeks I won't be. I'm going to Virginia.
In 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm on spring break. I'm going to do some Civil War sightseeing.
Cool. That'll be fun. You taking out?
I'm going on my own.
The only Civil War I want to see is the Civil War series out in
I don't get
California.
spring break.
I think I'm going to Manassas and a little Appomattox Courthouse. That's the plan.
Sweet.
So
that'll be cool.
Sleep in the old Malibu and
you got to get a van. You should stop by D'Amico.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Look, you can mock the van all you want. Thing is,
I actually thought about
Stone Go seats, man. Fold them down.
That's right, man. Lay that baby flat, straight to the back.
There was a weekend where I thought maybe I'll drive up to Williams Grove and then sleep in the car and maybe go to Lincoln or Port and meet Mike, but I just haven't had the opportunity.
In other words, the wife.
You're running out of Saturdays very quickly.
Yeah,
I know. By the way, what are you doing
two
here?
left.
Is your wife not home again?
No, she's working. Actually, she's home. She's home
she's
now.
in Buffalo.
Hey, she's at a birthday party.
She's home.
Oh, she's at Rich's house.
Yeah.
She get Rich's kids up nights.
So
No, she's home now, but it's weird because we're on opposite schedules right now. I work days.
If
and
she's
she
home
works
now, we
nights,
better
so.
get out of here so that you
Yeah.
can.
that's it. It's all she
She,
wrote.
she's already sleeping.
Curfew's.
I'll be going home.
Curfew's running out for Adam, so we got to pack this one in.
So,
Guys,
awesome.
thanks for joining us here. We're going to be back next week. Stay tuned for some additional updates on who's going to be on the show. That's going to do it for us.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have a report from a live race on Sunday.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
For Adam Buchanan, our guest Brett Deyo, and Jeremy Elliott for there's John Balmas, Mike Mallett. Send some more well wishes out to Dave Roberts on his recovery. We wish well to him, and thanks for joining us.